Ladies and gentlemen, where the streets are named after Monopoly characters and the casinos are running all day, and with the oldest boardwalk in the United States, it's Atlantic City, New Jersey, where the MAAC tournament is covered here in one of the most prominent cities on the East Coast. Logan Rundy alongside Michael Kelleher for this Division I women's basketball matchup between the number 8 seeded Manhattan Jaspers and the number 1 seeded Fairfield Stags here on 88.5 FM. It's going to be a lot of fun today, Mike, but the Stags have had their way in the first 2 matchups this season.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the last 2 matchups between Fairfield and Manhattan this season, Fairfield's handily won both of them. Last playing on February 15th with an 84-55 win. Fairfield doing really well in the shooting spreads, almost 50% from the field, 38, almost 40% from 3, and having 25 assists, with Katie Lamoureux leading the way with 16 points. And again, then back in January, another handed win and outscored Manhattan 38-16 in that second half. I mean, again, Katie Lamoureux having another big game. I mean, this is going to be a game to watch today, especially for anyone who's still in it right now. And as we kind of look ahead to some of the stats for the Stags themselves, I mean, Meg Anderson, Roadrunner this year, first-team All-MAAC, averaging 15 points. Katie Lamoureux, also second-team All-MAAC, and Camille Selimovic on third-team All-MAAC. All 3 of these players today, I think, are going to have big games today against Manhattan, especially with Manhattan last night on a big win. And then looking at Manhattan, I mean, they've won 4 of their last 5 games with a huge margin of victory. I mean, last night against Canisius, a 52-42 win, a big win for them, and held Canisius to only 0.8 points per possession. One player watches of Layla Ozturk. I mean, MAAC record 8 blocks in a singular game. That is going to be something big to watch out for. And I think another thing you got to keep an eye out for, in general for both teams, is just the rebounding and turnover margins. I mean, for Fairfield in the rebounding, they're number 1 team in rebounds given up, only allowing 913 rebounds, while Manhattan's the number 1 team in rebounds total with 1,108. And for Fairfield, also looking at the turnovers, they've only given up 395 this season, second lowest in the MAAC behind Quinnipiac, who's the number 2 seed. And for Manhattan, again, 5th most in the MAAC with 557, but they also they're very low in the caused turnovers with only 457 and are 11th in the MAAC. So it's going to be a big matchup today. How can Fairfield attack Manhattan? How can Manhattan cause turnovers and keep Fairfield off its pace today? That's going to be a big question for them.
Yeah, absolutely. This Fairfield Stags team's got their hand full with Manhattan. They're the first in opponent field goal percentage at 36.7%, so a really good stout defense. You have Layla Ozturk, has 8 blocks last night. She's 75th in the country right now in overall blocks with averages pretty high as well. Again, it's going to be a big game today. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for Manhattan first. Nizan Amar will get the start at guard. Inez Jimenez Montserrat will join her, along as Tegan Young, Layla Ozturk, as we mentioned a couple of times, and Petra Juric. A pretty traditional starting lineup for Heather Vulin, who's in her 9th season at Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean, Manhattan right now is rolling right now. They have the good lineup. They have a great lineup, and I think for them, the biggest thing that they can use to their advantage is their size. If you look at Fairfield this season, the one thing they've really struggled with was against teams that are bigger in size. And you can look back early in the season to the Richmond game. They were really limited in how they can get their offense going. So I think for Manhattan, if they can use their size to advantage, this game is going to turn a different way really quickly if Fairfield can't take advantage of the transition game.
Indeed, Fairfield really going to try to get out and push the basketball early. Katie Lamoureux, Kendall Magruder, the Texan native, the Brazilian Isabella Nicoletti Leite, New York native Megan Anderson, and Amina Selimovic will be the starting 5, pretty traditional starting 5, and it's been a popular one for third-season head coach Carly Thibault-Dudas.
Yeah, I mean, Fairfield right now, they're coming into this. They have to have the mentality right now that they got the target on their back. They're the MAAC champions from last year. They've had injuries this year. They've had a couple players that are gone out for the season, including Janelle Brown, some players that were in the rotation last year that aren't in their rotation this year. A little bit of transfers and stuff like that. But again, I think this Fairfield team, you saw it kind of in warm-ups. You're seeing it now as they're on the court. They seem very much locked in tonight, and I think it's going to be a big game if Fairfield can get their momentum back, get their three-point shots falling, get themselves in transition, and just keep the ball moving and do not allow Manhattan to get themselves set.
Indeed. It's a weird situation for Fairfield. coming off a MAAC loss. They haven't lost in over 2 years until Saturday, where they took the defeat at Quinnipiac. Manhattan's been red hot after winning yesterday against Canisius. It's a really fun matchup in this matinee game on a Wednesday afternoon. We're going to be right back with kind of our starting coverage for the game. Logan Rundy, Michael Kelleher. Let's have fun here at noon Eastern time is set for tip-off. We'll be right back.
Rihanna, good girl going bad. Take 3, action. No clouds in my stones. Let it rain. I hydroplane in the thing coming down like a Dow Jones. When the clouds come, we gone. We Rockefellers, we fly higher than weather, and cheap vibes are better. You know me, in anticipation for precipitation, stack chips with a rainy day. Jay, Rain Man is back with Little Miss Sunshine. Rihanna, where you at?
You have my heart, and we'll never be worlds apart. Maybe in magazines, but you still be my star. Baby, 'cause in the dark, you can't see shiny cars. And that's when you need me there. With you, I'll always share. Because when the sunshine will shine together, told you I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be your friend. Took an oath, promise to get out to the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, 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 fancy things will never come in between. You're part of my entity, here for infinity. When the world has took its part, when the world has dealt its cards, if the hand is hard, together we'll mend your heart. Because when the sunshine will shine together, told you I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be your friend. Took an oath, promise to get out to the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, 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 you can run into my arms. It's okay, don't be alarmed. Come into me. There's no
fake spies from China try to steal your mind's elation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Just about to get started. Fairfield in their classic whites, Manhattan in the green today. Fairfield will start going from east to west, and Manhattan will go from west to east from our view. Mike, it's a great matchup today. Noon start. How does Manhattan have to attack Fairfield's defense to really get some momentum?
I think for Fairfield, for Manhattan, they got to take advantage of the size they have on their team. I think you look at the roster for Fairfield that's out there right now. It's not the biggest lineup that Fairfield has, but I mean, it's one of the bigger lineups that Fairfield has available to them. I think for Manhattan, if they can take advantage like they did yesterday against Canisius, with the size, with the movement, getting the defense to just continuously move, not allowing Fairfield to be set, not allowing or creating open shots. I think that's going to be Manhattan's recipe for success today. And for Fairfield on the other side, I think for them, their recipe for success is what they've done all season, what they've done this season, and what they've done last season. Get out in transition, play good defense, hit your threes. I think if you can do that today, you have a really good chance of winning. You have a chance to go and move on to Saturday night against either St. Mary's or Marist.
Absolutely, you do. The winner will get the day off tomorrow, and we'll play on Friday. About to tip it off here. Stags in the all whites and the Manhattan in the green. Megan Anderson and Petra Urich will jump it up, and it is won by Manhattan. And Nitsan Amar will get it started, guarded by Lamro. Amar finds Montserrat, uses the screen. Montserrat looking for an option. Goes up top, finds Ozturk. Ozturk dribble handoff with Montserrat, drives in. Anderson picks her up top of the key. 10 on the shot clock. Manhattan struggling to get off and get a shot off. Swung over to Tegan Young. Young looking for an option. Crosses over, jumps it up from 16, can't get it. Rebound batted around by Montserrat and lays it up the glass.
And that's the big thing for Fairfield right now is they got to limit the amount of rebounds available. As we kind of said in the open, Manhattan is one of the better teams in rebounds. Actually, number one team in rebounds with 1,108. So I think that's the big thing they got to limit today.
Anderson kicks Selimovic on the cut outside. Nicolai Lates to Anderson, top of the key three, too short. Batted around once more and ran down by Nitsan Amar. Amar, the senior from Huron, Israel. Calls out a play, finds Tegan Young. Young, looking inside, finds Montserrat. Montserrat swings it to Amar. Up at the top, left key, Lamro guards her aggressively. Amar finds Tegan Young at the top, finds Kendall Magruder. Then swings it all the way over. Amar uses the Ozturk screen, top. Swings it to the corner and throws it into the seats, and Manhattan can't find any momentum to start the game.
And there was a great pressure by Nina Selimovic. I mean, she got right into the face of Ozturk. Didn't cause a foul, but she did the right thing and altered the pass greatly.
Lamro, Selimovic on the left wing. Selimovic drives right hand, fades away to the patented shot, and knocks it in. Amina Selimovic gets the Stags on the board.
I mean, that's her patent pending move. She loves that fadeaway shot, and I mean, she makes a lot of them. So I think that's a big thing for her. If she can get to that spot and hit those shots, that's going to be big for her today.
Even to start things 2-2, 8:10 remaining in the first quarter. All the way over to Montserrat, working on Nicolai Lates. Uses the Petra Urich screen, still keeps it though. Selimovic guards aggressively as Montserrat picks up the dribble, stolen by Magruder temporarily. Montserrat gets it back. Montserrat jump stop, 6-footer, too strong. Anderson the rebound. The other way going, Katie Lamro. Lamro looking for an option, finds Selimovic. One more, Nicolai Lates thought about the shot. Selimovic, Lamro, Magruder on the right wing, guarded by Nitsan Amar. Selimovic, Nicolai Lates guarded by Young. Nicolai Lates, Selimovic, left wing three-pointer, too strong. Rebound goes to Tegan Young. Montserrat to Amar to start the offense for Manhattan. And Amar through the legs once, right on the MAAC championship logo, right at midcourt, guarded by Lamro. Amar looking for an option. Up at the top, Tegan Young will set the screen on Lamro's hip. Amar. Right there is Tegan Young. Young working on Magruder. Backs her down. Bounce pass inside. Stolen by Lamro. 5-on-4 the other way. Lamro Loses control, finds Nicolette Leite on the shovel. Lamro, three-pointer from the right wing, and knocks it down. Katie Lamro gets on the board to start things off from the three-point land for the Stags.
And that's a big thing for Fairfield right now. I mean, they need those shots. They need those open shots, and that's what Fairfield has done all season. They've pass, and create open shots. Tegan
Young finds Ozturk up top, and a foul was on Lamro as she tried to get the steal on Amar. So Lamro will pick up her first. The Stags will pick up their first team foul. Sydney Scott will check in, as well as Rayana Brown for Selimovic and Magruder. So quick subs for Coach Carly Thibault-Dudanis to start things off.
Yeah, I mean, for Manhattan right now, they're on a 2.5-minute scoring drought, so it's going to be big to see what Coach Rowland decides and when she decides to go to her bench, or if she decides to stay with this lineup right now.
Ozturk to Amar. Ozturk sets a screen on Lamro's left hip. Looking for an option inside. Finds Petra Juric. Juric looking for Montserrat and finds her. Guarded well by Nicolette Leite. Ozturk uses Montserrat. Drives right hand on Nicolette Leite. Right hand layup. In and out. And the ball bounces into Nicolette Leite's hands, who's going the other way. 5-on-5 basketball in transition. Nicolette Leite. Lamro trying to get another three-pointer to go. In and out.
In that last possession for Manhattan, you had a mismatch with Ozturk and Lamro, and they just did not take advantage of it. So for Manhattan, Fairfield got away with one on that last possession.
Manhattan, 3-minute scoring drought as Nicolette Leite going 3-on-1 the other way. He's got Anderson to her right, uses her chest pass, and blocked by Ozturk, who leads the Manhattan team and is 75th in the country, just showing why she can really get it done on the defensive end.
And that's our 9th block on the tournament right now, as Jillian Herder is going to check in for Fairfield and come out for Isabella Nicolette Leite.
Manhattan will counter with Hannah Mould, the junior from Zagreb, Croatia. Jill Herder comes in, the Rutgers transfer in her second year of collegiate basketball, as Lamro gets the inbound pass, guarded by Montserrat. Lamro trying to go around, scoop with the right hand, too strong. Wild shot, rebounded by Mule. Mule going the other way, finds Montserrat in transition. Montserrat chest pass over to Amar. And back in Ozturk's hands, switches it to Mule. Mule trying to drive on Lamro. Decides better of it and gets it to Amar. Amar calling out of play. Working one-on-one with Anderson currently. Crossover right hand, trying to drive. Left hand layup, no good, but the foul was called on Fairfield. And 2 shots for Amar. Megan Anderson will pick up her first. The Stags will pick up their second personal. 5-2 early here. The Stags with the 3-point advantage. 5:24 remaining in the first period. Nitsan Amar, a 70.7% free throw shooter. Pretty consistent. The lefty strokes the first one and misses too strong.
And that now makes it an almost 4-minute scoring drought for Manhattan right now. We're looking for their first points.
Amar trying to get that second one to go. Too short, 0 for 2 from the line. A missed opportunity for the Jaspers. Brianna Brown, the rebound, gets it to Lamro. Lamro to Anderson. Anderson, first team All-MAAC conference this year, gets it to Lamro. Her other MAAC team counterpart, and Brianna Brown inside gets fouled and will go to the line for 2. Manhattan will pick up their first team foul. Tegan Young will pick up her first personal. Brianna Brown, the transfer student from Texas A&M International in her first season with the Stags, has been instrumental. This year from the line, she's shooting 76.7%. Huge bench presence so far this year.
Yeah, for Brown, I mean, recently named MAAC 6th Player of the Year, so that's big for her. I mean, she's been a huge asset for Fairfield's women's team on the bench.
Brown gets the first one to go. Brianna Brown, the Wheatley Heights, New York native, in her graduate year here at Fairfield. Brown gets on the board with her first free throw, looking to get 2 for 2 from the line. Can't do it. Selimovic battles for the rebound, and it is out of bounds on Ozturk. Number 0, Brianna Davis is checked in, the junior from Bronx, New York for Manhattan. So both teams using their benches early. Jill Herder, Rayana Brown inside. Katie Lamro to Selimovic at the top. Up fakes. Jill Herder, Sydney Scott in that order. Sydney Scott to Lamro on the left wing, guarded by Mule. Wild pass by Lamro, saved by Herder, but she stepped on the end line. Sloppy possession if you're the Stags.
Yeah, that is. But, I mean, still, Fairfield has a 6-0 run right now in the last about 3.5 minutes. Well, Manhattan's scoring drought continues, almost getting to 4.5 minutes at the moment.
Yeah, you got to find a way if you're Manhattan to find some rhythm. Both possessions that you have been down the floor early were good. They had some flow to it, but then on the next few possessions, Fairfield figured it out on defense. So, Mike, what's the key for Manhattan to get into a little bit of a rhythm?
Yeah, right now, I mean, it's kind of similar to yesterday's game against Canisius. I mean, both teams struggled out of the gate, trying to find each other, trying to figure out what they can do. I think for Manhattan right now, I think the thing they have to do is they got to take advantage of these mismatches they may develop. I mean, a couple possessions ago, Ozturk had a mismatch on Lamro. I mean, that's a huge mismatch that you got to take advantage of. So I think for Manhattan, it's continue to play good defense and try to limit the amount of possessions Fairfield can get or second chance points, and just take advantage of mismatches when you can. I think Manhattan really hasn't done that a lot. They've tried to run something inside, and I like the attack or the approach, but it's just not worked for them.
Yeah, and you can't turn over the basketball. Fairfield's 5 out of their 6 points have come in transition, with the only point not in transition at the free throw line. So you have to find a way to slow down Fairfield's offense, because if you're Manhattan, you don't want to turn this into a track meet.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at even the stats right now, I mean, Fairfield has 2 offensive rebounds to Manhattan's 1. I mean, it's very close in rebounds right now, but I think for Manhattan, they've just got to continue to stay home on defense and just make sure that they don't allow so many open threes. I mean, I believe right now they've already had about 3 open threes given up to Fairfield, and Fairfield's only hit about 1 or 2 of them. So, I mean, that's what's kept up Manhattan in this game. But I think if they continue to allow these three-pointers to be made, open three-pointers to be taken, at some point they're going to burn you.
Yeah, exactly. And the Stags have not shot well in this building historically. Struggled a little bit in the first 3 games last year. Obviously did pretty well against Niagara, but even in that Niagara game in the championship last year, really struggled off to get to a good start. You know, Brown had a few fouls early and just really couldn't figure it out. So you're going to be able to take advantage of some Stags misses. You just have to be able to capitalize on those mismatches and really get out and run in transition.
Yeah, I mean, for Fairfield right now, you're looking at the shots. I mean, it's 2 for 7 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Meanwhile, for Manhattan, they're 1 for 5 and 0 for 1 from 1 for 5 from the field and 0 for 1 from 3. So I think at some point somebody's got to start making these shots, and I think if I'm Manhattan, maybe start looking to your bench, maybe start seeing if someone can get you some points off the bench. And I mean, for Fairfield right now, I feel like it's been Rayanna Brown right now that's been a tone setter right now on defense and on offense, getting the offensive rebounds, but also making sure that someone like Ozturk is limited in how many shots she can take.
Yeah, Ozturk is really the main threat on offense and defense. She can get it done on both sides, but Anna Mule is going to be great as well. She's going to shoot the three-point ball a lot. Nitsan Amar is going to generate your offense. So, again, you have to find ways, if you're Fairfield, to find other players to really hurt you if they are going to. For example, like Petra Juric, like Jimenez Montserrat. And then on the other side, you have to be able to wall up on defense and find ways to get rebounds, which is something you've struggled to do all year.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Fairfield, they've so far done a pretty good job of limiting the amount of second chance opportunities. I mean, you only have 2 points from it, giving up 2 points to Manhattan, so you've done something good so far as we're about halfway through this first quarter. But I think you've got to keep this up. You've got to keep the energy up. You've got to keep the momentum going. You've got to start finding your groove quickly before Manhattan finds their groove.
Indeed, Lamro, Selimovic, Herder, Sydney Scott, and Rayanna Brown will be on the floor for Coach Carly Thibault-Dudonis' team. On the other side of things, Brianna Davis, Nitsan Amar, and a Mule. Ozturk will stay on the floor, and Kristen Urich will check in for the first time. Petra and Kristen both from sisters here on this Manhattan squad. As the ball's back in, Davis working on Sydney Scott, loses the handle for a second, stolen by Lamro. Lamro going the other way, decides to slow it down. 4-on-3. Lamro chest pass to Herder, left wing three-pointer, and knocks it down. Jill Herder from New Jersey knocks it down.
I mean, for Jill Herder, that's got to feel good right now. I mean, she had a couple buckets in the Quinnipiac loss. I believe she had about 6.8 points or something like that. 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist in the last game. I mean, she's 45% from the free on the season.
Mule kicks it out to Amar and counters. Nitsan Amar knocks it down. That lefty stroke gets it done. Lamro. Jill Herder trying to get 2 in a row and knocks it down. Jill Herder red hot here. Might as well go play the slots here in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Jillian Herder, welcome to Atlantic City. Hits the last 2 threes. That's big for Fairfield right now.
Amar looking to get something going again. Looking for an option. Had Mule on the baseline, decided not to use her. Goes to Urich instead. Rayanna Brown pressing defense. Forces it in the backcourt and forces a backcourt violation. as Urick had controlled possession just a step before it went backcourt.
I mean, Rayanna Brown, like I said earlier, she's been a big tone setter for the Fairfield off the bench, and I think right now that's working. As you look for Fairfield, Cyan Coe is going to check in. It looks like Sydney Scott may have checked back in for Fairfield as well.
Tegan Young checks in as well as Montserrat. So, again, 2 starters back in the game that controls some tempo. Nicolette Leite, chest pass to Herder. Finds Sydney Scott, guarded by Montserrat, to Selimovic, guarded by Urick. Sydney Scott hoists a 3, looking for 3 in a row, can't get it. Cyan Coe is checked in for the first time. The Canada freshman has been instrumental this year for the Stags. Herder to Selimovic, working on Ozturk. Finds it to another fadeaway shot off the glass this time, no good. Coe bats it around, but it's in the hands of Christina Urick. Mule going the other way. Mule finds Tegan Young. Young looking for Montserrat on the curl, couldn't find her, finds Ozturk instead. Mule back in wall with her hands on the right wing, guarded by Sydney Scott. 15 on the shot clock. Montserrat looking to pull up, stolen by Selimovic. It's another Manhattan turnover. Nicolette Leite going to Coe in transition. Coe looking for an option, goes and Euro steps it on Ozturk. No good. Montserrat the rebound.
And for Manhattan, that's about 4 or 5 turnovers in the past about 6 minutes right now.
5 turnovers in 6 minutes, as Mike said, as Mule will start the offense for Manhattan. Ozturk guarded by Selimovic. Ozturk looking to drive, gets past Selimovic. 6-foot floater, no good, and rebound goes to Sydney Scott. Scott to Nicolette Leite. Selimovic running all by herself. Nicolette Leite sees it. Jab steps and goes. Selimovic chest pass. Sydney Scott. 3-pointer from the top of the key. In and out. Rebound Cyan Coe. Left-hand layup. No good as well. And Selimovic will get the offensive rebound. Sydney Scott. Jill Herder. Herder gets it to Nicolette Leite on the left wing. Then sets the screen for her. Chest pass Selimovic. Right wing 3-pointer. And the Bosnian Barbie knocks one down. It's 3 3-pointers for the Stags.
That's, huge for Fairfield right now. And again, Manhattan's starting to go back on a scoring drought. Haven't scored in the last about 2 minutes.
And a timeout is called by Manhattan. Stags on a 15-3 scoring run, and Heather Valin has seen enough. The Minnesota Morris graduate can't stand to see it anymore. It's 15-5 Fairfield, and if you're Manhattan, you really got to find a way to pick up your offense and stop the Stags from three-point land.
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say right now is the offensive rebound game. Right now, Fairfield has 5 offensive rebounds to Manhattan's 1, and I think that's a big thing that you got to keep in mind. On the season, it looks like Fairfield wasn't one of the best rebounding teams offensively. I think they were ranked 8th with 292, while Manhattan, on the other hand, was ranked 5th with 308. So I think for Manhattan right now, they got to limit that. That's the big thing. The second thing is the Ozturk. For Ozturk, that was the first possession I think I've seen her where she's actually been able to get around the defender and try to get a shot. Like, you look at what Fairfield's done with Ozturk today. They've really made sure they're pressing her and they're keeping their hands in her face so she's not seeing the court easily. Indeed.
Both teams roll out the same lineups. Nothing has changed except Kendall Magruder has checked back in for Fairfield.
15, Warren Beach.
Beach is checked in, the senior from Medway, Massachusetts, as well for more of a defensive presence, as Hannah Mule will get it underway, guarded by Nicolette Leite. One-handed pass goes to Montserrat, guarded by Lauren Beach. Montserrat uses the Urick screen, goes around, and picked up by Cyan Coe. Montserrat chest pass to Mule at the top. Ozturk the screen, long 3 from Mule, can't get it to go. Ozturk had it in her hands for a second, then corrals it. Offensive rebound goes to Manhattan, and Selimovic will get called for a push. Selimovic will pick up her first personal and third on the Stags, and that offensive rebound is Manhattan's game, and you got to keep doing it if you want to be successful in the Jaspers uniform today.
Yeah, and right now, if you're looking at the runs, Fairfield's got a 15-3 run over almost in the last 7 minutes, while they've also had a 6-0 run in the past about 3 minutes right now of play.
Amar checks back in for the Jaspers for Mule. She'll take a seat after a productive few minutes. Montserrat will inbound on the Atlantic end on the baseline. Inside, Amar finds Montserrat working on the smaller Nicolette Leite. Marat jump stops, going up with the left hand. Pretty move, but can't convert. Gets her on miss. 4-foot jump shot is good. Montserrat doing what the Jaspers do best, offensive rebound, and put it right back in.
Yeah, and that ends almost a 3-minute scoring drought for Manhattan. So that's going to be big right now. Still an 8-point game, still a winnable game, a close game for Manhattan right now. You just got to continue to stay home on defense.
Cyan Coe to Selimovic to Kendall Magruder, the Texan native 3-and-D specialist. Magruder bounce pass into Selimovic. working inside on Amar, going on the reverse layup with the right hand. Pretty move, but can't convert. And Montserrat will push the other way. Then to Amar on the right wing, guarded by Ko. Ko has been put on the opposing best offensive player many times this year, so nothing new for her. Amar inside to Urick. That's Christina Urick, who drives, Euro steps inside, right hand. Layup is good, a pretty move if you're Christina Urick, and you got the Manhattan offense rolling.
Yeah, that's, second right now for Fairfield. You're looking at one of the last 7 field goal, 1 of 7 in their last field goal attempts.
Nicolette Leite guarded up top by Jimenez Montserrat. Nicolette Leite controlling the clock to end this first quarter. 2 seconds separate the game and the shot clock. 14 on the game and 9 on the shot. Screen by Cheyenne Ko. Double team at the top. Nicolette Leite inside looking for Ko. Tips it out. Lauren Beach got to get a shot up and 1. Ko elevates, shoots it, and a shot clock violation is called. Good defensive possession for Manhattan going into the second quarter.
Yeah, right now for Fairfield, that's a huge thing. They've also now are on a 2-minute scoring drought. So for Manhattan, that's big right now. If they can just make sure that Fairfield doesn't get any shots in the last 2 seconds, they can go to the bench after the first quarter on a little bit of a run right now. I believe a 4-0 run. And they are kind of starting to find themselves a little bit, which is, I think, big for Manhattan.
Montserrat inbounds, the football pass to midfield. Amar hoists it from 40 feet and can't get it to go. So a competitive game. Fairfield started this game on a 15-5 run. Manhattan counters with 4 points. And the Stags are up 6 at the end of the first quarter. Fairfield 15, Manhattan 9. Interesting first quarter. Didn't seem like there was too much flow to it, Mike. And the Stags found something, but it probably won't be enough. So you got to find a couple of different ways to score the basketball and rebound as well.
Yeah, right now, if you're looking at the rebound games, it's tied 10-10. You have the slight advantage in offensive rebounds, while Manhattan has a slight edge in defensive rebounds. And right now, and also another big thing is three-pointers. Again, for Fairfield, that's their bread and butter. They're 4 of 9 from three-point land. Meanwhile, for Manhattan, they're 1 of 3. So that's a big reason why you also have a 6-point lead right now. But also, I think another thing is you look at some of these players, like a Kendall Magruder, like a Cheyenne Ko, who's 0 for 2. Kendall Magruder hasn't taken a shot yet. If you're looking at someone like a Jillian Herder, she had a great start, 2 for 2 from 3, and you look at other players like Katie Lamoureux, 1 for 3 right now. Meg Anderson hasn't made a shot yet, 0 of 2 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. You got to start getting some of your best players. They got to start scoring at some point, because I don't think the bench is going to be enough if Manhattan's best players also start scoring.
Yeah, indeed. This game would be tied if Jill Herder didn't come off the bench and knock down 2 3-pointers, right? So your starters got to find a way to get some momentum and really find a flow in this game, and I think Manhattan's really starting to do that.
Another thing to keep in mind is also points off turnovers. Fairfield right now has 8 points, while Manhattan has nothing.
Yeah, you got to generate the turnovers to score off them, right? Fairfield's been able to generate 5 turnovers in the first quarter. They're on pace to generate 20 of them. So, again, got to find ways if you're Manhattan to disrupt that Fairfield offense, because once they get going, they're really hard to stop.
Yeah, and another thing is, Fairfield, not really the best team in terms of scoring when it comes to under 70 points this season. I believe last time I saw, anytime they've really gotten over 70 points, they're basically undefeated. Meanwhile, if they're under 70 points, they kind of struggle, and they're around that 500 mark in terms of a record when they play and they don't score over 70.
Yeah, both teams are really shooting the basketball poorly. Manhattan at 36%, the Stags even worse at 31%. Really been kept alive by the three-point ball with their 44%, which is a pretty high clip for them, and Manhattan's 1 for 3 in that area. So, again, points off turnovers and three-pointers is not a lot you can rely upon, so you have to find some type of flow in the best rated offense this year.
Yeah, for Fairfield, it's continue to get good defensive possessions and then just get out in transition. They've had a couple opportunities to get out in transition, but they haven't taken advantage of those moments. So I think for Fairfield, it's, again, play the defense you've been playing the stifling defense, pressure on the players, making sure they don't get an easy look at the court, making sure that you got their hands in their face and stuff like that, and then get out in transition, get running, get players moving on offense, on your offensive sets, and get some open shots.
Yeah, you got to find open shots, and if you're Manhattan, you got to find somebody that's been a positive on the floor. In the plus-minus department, there's not one Manhattan player that is in the positive numbers. So you have to find ways to contribute, whether that's getting steals, whether that's rebounding the basketball, whether that's moving the ball, assists. You just have to play the game. I think Manhattan's a little uptight to start things, and it's really not benefited them so far.
I mean, when you're playing the number 1 seed and you're playing the team that just won the MAAC championship last year, there's a lot of pressure on you to make some noise in this conference. I mean, you look yesterday I heard something on ESPN, I believe, where the last time a team that wasn't the 1 or 2 seed won the championship this year, you'd have to go all the way back to 1995, I believe 1996, when Loyola did it. Wow. So it's going to be big for Fairfield right now to just keep going and for Manhattan just to start getting a little bit more loose on offense.
Megan Anderson, Katie Lamro, Sydney Scott, Brianna Brown, Kendall Magruder, the 5 for Fairfield on offense to start it. Sydney Scott and Lamro not on the same page, and Lamro turns over the basketball, and the Stags turn it over for the 3rd time. So, again, got to find some flow, and as Montserrat, you're going to find Amar, Uric, Ozturk, and Tegan Young on the floor for the Manhattan Jaspers. Sydney Scott, as Montserrat got it in her hand. Good hands by Scott just to knock it out of bounds a few feet on the right wing.
And after that last turnover from Fairfield, Brianna Brown kind of just telling everyone, hey, let's calm down a little bit. We're still good. Let's play our game.
Amar to Ozturk, looking for Montserrat. Dribble handoff is good. Sydney Scott got blown up on the screen. Outside, that's Uric. Uric's the long 2, no good. Lamro brings down the rebound. Lamro going 5-on-5 and transition. Skip past Sydney Scott. Right wing 3-pointer. Too strong. Montserrat will corral the rebound. Amar been consistent on the offensive end, controlling the pace. The senior from Iran, Israel. Amar guarded by the sophomore Lamro to Montserrat. Sydney Scott all up in the grill of Montserrat. Uric sets the screen. Bounce pass inside to Amar, working on the smaller Lamro. Amar fadeaway shot, no good. Looked awkward. And doesn't go. Lamro checks her shoulder to make sure nobody's behind her and drives in the paint on Amar. Looking for an option. Bounce pass to Anderson on the left wing. Chest pass Sydney Scott to Lamro. Lamro trying to find Anderson on the curl. Couldn't get her. Sydney Scott will bounce it inside to Anderson. Skipped outside to Magruder. Right wing 3-pointer. In and out. And the rebound goes to Ozturk. The other way is going Amar. Amar, 21 in green today. Finds Montserrat, number 23. Magruder guarding Montserrat. Uric the screen, double team at the top. For a second as Brown went to help Magruder. Skip pass to Ozturk, guarded by Anderson. Ozturk drives with the right hand. 6-foot shot is good. That's Manhattan offense, dribble, drive, penetration.
That is how they are going to get it. And for Fairfield right now, they're under 30% from the field.
Lamro throws an absolute dish to Raina Brown. 25-foot dish to get the Stags a 17-11 advantage. And Raina Brown big off the bench with 3 points so far.
I mean, she's been huge for Fairfield, and that's the thing I said. They got to get out in transition. They got to get moving. They can't let Manhattan set. And right there, that's a key example of that.
Tegan Young working on Magruder. Young looking for an option and letting the play develop. Uses the Uric screen, which is a fake screen. Skipped over to Amar in the corner on the flare pass. Lamro will guard. Reset the offense with 3, 2. Amar has to hoist at 1. Too strong. And Raina Brown and Uric will fight for the rebound. Bench points for Fairfield, 9 contributing, 3 of them coming from Raina Brown. So been big to come off the bench with Jill Herder and Raina Brown combining for all 9 as Herder has the 2 3-pointers. Jill Herder will check back in. Magruder, Lamro, Anderson, and Raina Brown. Manhattan will keep it the same. Christina Uric will check in for Manhattan. Inside, Amar skips it out to Uric. That's Tegan Young. Way off on the 3-pointer and can't knock it down. Katie Lamro pushing the other way, looking for Anderson. Bounce pass one-handed. Left-handed layup. No good, but the foul was called inside. I believe that will go on Young, and Young will pick up her second personal.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great position for Fairfield. Now, the shot didn't go down. I mean, that's what you want. You want Katie Lamro kind of right now taking over and looking a little bit like that Janelle Brown at times, where you get out in transition, you get moving, you find the open person on the floor, and you try to get any type of shot that's a good shot. That was a good attempt from Megan Anderson. Let's see if she can hit her free throws.
Anderson, 78.3% free throw shooter, knocks down the first. The Stags really struggling to score inside as they've only had 2 points in the paint thus far. Anderson, the New York native in her sophomore campaign, first team All-MAAC this year, was the MAAC Rookie of the Year last year, really put 2 beautiful seasons together as she knocks down the second free throw. Anna Mule has checked back in for Manhattan. Mule guarded by Jill Herder at the top, the Rutgers transfer. Mule finds Montserrat, guarded by Magruder. Montserrat then finds Mule once more. 2-woman game. Montserrat on the wing. working to look on Brianna Brown. Adds a third with Ozturk inside to a fourth, looking for Urick. Lamro tried to save it behind her back and throws it into the Fairfield bench. And the Stags will lose the possession, and Manhattan will keep it.
I mean, on that position right there, you saw they were finally looking to take advantage of the size game right there. While it kind of slipped through, it looks like Urich's hands. I mean, that was a good attempt right there. And that's what Manhattan needs to do today. They are the bigger team. They need to take advantage of that size.
Inbound pass from Miller goes to Ozturk, who skips it to Mule once more to Urick. Urick's three-pointer, no good. And the foul is going to go on Montserrat as she pushed Magruder. Good defensive rebounding from the Stags.
Again, that position right there, that's what Manhattan did a lot yesterday. They got the ball moving. They got the ball moving around that perimeter, and they got the defense of Canisius yesterday moving around. They just got Fairfield's defense moving around today.
Lamro will control the offense for the Stags. Brianna Brown dribble handoff once more to Magruder. Magruder fakes the three-pointer, drives with the right hand, and goes up with that right hand, and a traveling violation is called. And that is the correct call. Just took too many steps if you're Kendall Magruder.
Yeah, and if you're Kendall Magruder right there, you just got to get your head in the game, get back on defense, make a good play on defense.
Tegan Young will check back in for Urick. That's Christina Urick that will check back out. The sophomore from Zagreb, Croatia, 6'2". Mule will start the offense. Mule from the same city, Zagreb, Croatia. Sisters with Nika Mule as well. The talented WNBA player for the Seattle Storm. Amar looking to drive on Lamro. Beautiful move as she steps right through and gets two off the glass and cuts the Stags lead to just 6. Lamro going the other way to try to counter. Brianna Brown guarded by Ozturk. Just pass to Herder. Once more to Kendall Magruder. Magruder driving with the left hand. Spin move going up with the right and knocks it in. Pretty move from the Texas native who just lassos it home.
Yeah, I mean, she got back on that last play. Got back on that last play from the travel she had earlier. So, I mean, that was big for Kendall Magruder, her first points of the game.
Mule to Ozturk to Montserrat, who's got a straight line drive and a traveling violation called as she didn't jump stop and went 1-2. Nicoletta Leite will check back in, as well as Sydney Scott. Magruder will check out, as well as Katie Lamro. So a little bit more of an experienced lineup. The youngest woman on the floor is a sophomore, and that is Megan Anderson for the Stags. Christina Urick will check back in for Tegan Young. 5:44 remaining, 21-13 advantage Fairfield here at Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall. Nicoletta Leite, chest pass to Sydney Scott on the left wing. Up top, Brianna Brown. Once more on the wing to Megan Anderson, guarded by Ozturk. Anderson gets to her spot. Cut from Sydney Scott. Anderson doesn't see it, and the rebound goes to Ozturk.
Ozturk right there, just her size and her wingspan alone kind of altered that shot a little bit. So Anderson just couldn't get to that scooping layup she usually makes.
Foul's called on Brianna Brown. Brown will pick up her first personal. Fairfield will pick up their first team foul on the hold on Urick down low. Cyan Coe will check in for Brown. So again, kind of a stagnant game, not a lot of flow to it. Again, 5:17 remaining in the second quarter, but a lot of whistles so far.
Yeah, I mean, right now for Fairfield, they just haven't kind of seemed to find their offense, haven't been able to get out in transition enough and get those open shots that they like. And for Manhattan, I mean, it's just been a gritty game right now, and that's kind of what's kept them in here. I mean, still an 8-point advantage for Fairfield, but I mean, Manhattan's got to just be happy with what they got.
Offensive foul called on Montserrat on Manhattan on the illegal screen on the inbound pass. So, again, Manhattan really shooting themselves in the foot here early.
Yeah, I mean, right now on the game, they just have not been able to find their way, I think, today. I mean, 8 turnovers actually right now for the Manhattan Jaspers. So I think that's been a big thing that's kind of limited them today.
Sydney Scott to Nicoletta Leite, inbound to Coe. And a 3-second violation has been called on Coe. So back-to-back turnovers, one by Manhattan and one on Fairfield. Again, that's a notice in the whistles again. Only 9 seconds have elapsed in the last 2 possessions. Amar will inbound to Mule. Mule will give it right back. Three-quarter court defense from Sydney Scott on Amar. Amar's got 5 minutes to try to propel Manhattan Jaspers to a halftime lead. Uses Tegan Young. Amar finds Mule at the top, guarded by Jill Herder, who closes out. Mule working inside, almost guarded by Anderson. Cut by Urick, not seen. Amar looking to go one-on-one with Anderson, skips it out. Mule left corner in front of the Fairfield bench and knocks it down. The Croatian knocks it all the way down from Europe and cuts the lead to 5 for the Stags. Inside Nicolette Leite, Megan Anderson lays it in the other way. That's 6 points in the paint now for the Stags.
I mean, for Manhattan right there, that's their only second made three of the game. So that's kind of another big thing to keep an eye on for Manhattan. As Cyan Ko gets the tap away.
And a foul is called on Ozturk, who tripped up Cyan Ko a little bit. Selimovic will check back in for the Stags. Cyan Ko, not any points on the board yet, but has made a very good defensive presence as immediate timeout is here at Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall. So again, the Stags look like they're trying to burst out into some offense, getting a couple of steals, forcing a bunch of turnovers so far. They're only shooting 36% from the floor, and that's all been really in transition so far, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, this game has been really kind of in the trenches. On defense, it's been a big part of this game. I mean, yeah, 36% from the field from Fairfield, but I mean, Manhattan's only 37% from the field. So they've also struggled, and I think a big thing is you look at the three-point difference, it's a 2 of 7 for Manhattan shots, and for Fairfield, they're 4 of 11. So, I mean, it's not a huge difference, but right now it's enough of a difference to where it's keeping Fairfield almost up, keeping them up by 7.
And Selimovic and Herder have been big so far. They've combined for 11, knocking down 4 shots. Megan Anderson's knocked in 2 free throws and a layup. So, again, you're starting to get your star players involved, but it's really been the role players getting things done for Fairfield so far.
Yeah, right now, I mean, if you were to look at this team this year, this team last year, it's been night and day in terms of the production that you see. One night this year you could see Meg Anderson go for 30. Another night you could see Rayana Brown a couple weeks ago go for 30 as well. I mean, it's not seemingly this year's team. It's much more of the team doing well. Some players scoring a little bit more, but I mean, it could be anyone's night for Fairfield.
Yeah, and if you're the Stags, you're forcing a 36.8% clip. So the defense has been solid. But you have to put a complete game together to win games here in the MAAC tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Fairfield, another thing to keep in mind as well is on their defense. They've gotten down, as I've said, their fast break is a big part of their offense. Right now they have 13 compared to Manhattan's 0. So that's a big thing. If you're looking on the defensive end, 6 steals for Fairfield to 0 for Manhattan, and only 1 block for Manhattan from Ozturk.
Yeah, and the last lead that Manhattan had was 2-0 when they scored the first basket in this game with 9 minutes and 22 seconds left in the first quarter. So you have to find a way to not maybe take a lead at half, but maybe cut it to maybe 3, 4. You're going to have yourself getting some momentum going into the second half, because when this Fairfield team leads at half, they're pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, they have very, very rarely lost a game when they're in the lead. And I think as we kind of saw at the end of the first quarter, if they can get a little bit of a run, if they can maybe get that little 4-0 run like they did at the end of the first quarter, maybe not allow Fairfield to get open shots as they've kind of limited that today. That's going to be a big thing going into halftime. I think that's going to be Coach Volan's big talking point if they can limit the lead and cut the lead to about, I'd say 4 is a good margin for them.
Yeah, Coach Volan has been around for a long time. Her 9th season in the MAAC tournament. So, again, there used to be you get an automatic qualification. This year it's a little bit different, but they've made the tournament. So, again, she's been here before, and that experience I expect it to show a little bit later on in this game.
Yeah, I mean, she's, as you said, 9th season. She's been a big part for Manhattan to turn around, getting them in the tournament the last couple of years. I mean, a couple of years ago being in the championship, I believe. So it's been a big part. She's been a big part of this Manhattan culture shift.
Selimovic, Jill Herder, Izan Bella Nicolete, Sydney Scott, Cyan Ko to 5 for Fairfield. On the other side, it's Mule, Ozturk, Christina Urich, Tegan Young, and Amar. Nicolette Leite, Herder at the top, inside Cyan Ko, working on Christina Urich. Nicolette Leite up top, gets Mule flying in the air. Jill Herder drives baseline and crosses over and is fouled by Mule. A little out of control, but gets the benefit of the doubt with the call by the official.
Yeah, I mean, right there on Fairfield's offense, you saw them. They're moving the ball. They're trying to get the defense for Manhattan moving. Manhattan's defense on that possession did pretty well on not moving at all. I mean, the Mule foul is the one little blemish that you would say on that defensive possession. But overall, that defensive possession was really good. They didn't allow any open shots.
Jill Herder, the Rutgers transfer, gets her first free throw to go. Jill Herder's had a great year at the line. Herder, an 83.3% free throw shooter. One of the best on this Fairfield squad, as Montserrat will check in at the next stoppage. Herder hoists her second and knocks it down. Montserrat will check in for Urich. That's Christina Urich that will check out. Manhattan will get the ball back in. It'll go with Mule. Mule working on Jill Herder at the top. Mule then finds Ozturk, guarded by Ko. Ko aggressive defense. Herder got her hand on it, kicked out to Mule. Right-hand drive on the baseline. Skip pass all the way to Amar. Left wing three-pointer too strong. And Jill Herder brings down the rebound. Transition offense. Nicolette Leite slows it down for a second. Gets it to Sydney Scott. Scott thought about the three-pointer, stepped it back, then got it to Jill Herder, who fakes the shot. Cyan Ko with 17 on the shot clock. Got to get busy here. Ko, Herder, guarded by Mule. Sydney Scott. Ball stagnant for the Stags so far. Nicolette Leite inbounds it to Ko. Ko inside Nicolette Leite, who hoists it with 2 seconds. The long two grazes the rim, and Fairfield will get an additional possession, but the ball is not moving if you're the Stags.
Yeah, that possession you saw even there. Sydney Scott on the wing. She was just standing there waiting for the ball to come to her. I think right there, that possession, that was a little, you got to get moving. You got to keep the ball moving. You got to keep the bodies moving. And I think right now, that's one thing that Fairfield at times has struggled with. I mean, like I said earlier, with Manhattan struggling with the size, you go back to that Richmond game, they just weren't moving.
Offensive fouls called on Cyan Ko for a push-off on Montserrat. Ko will pick up her first personal. The team will pick up their second team foul. So, again, Fairfield not able to find a rhythm, kind of penalizing themselves when they don't have to. And Manhattan's really doing the same thing. So, got to find some flow in this basketball game.
Indeed. I mean, you got to keep in mind, you're looking at a lot of the point spreads. I mean, Manhattan having points in the paint, I think that's maybe the thing they got to start doing a little bit more. They have a 4-point advantage in that. I think 3 points is kind of limiting them as well.
Ozturk drives on Ko, who kicks it out to Tegan Young. Up fakes and goes, then kicks it outside to Montserrat. Montserrat steps back temporarily. Now looks for an option. Finds Mule with 8 on the shot clock. Drive right hand. Wraparound pass. 18-foot shot from Ozturk. No good. And Cyan Ko will be double teamed on the baseline, but gets it to Nicolette Leite. Transition offense for Fairfield once again. Baseline cut for Selimovic and traveled. Really good look for Selimovic, but got to convert.
Yeah, I mean, right there, you got to continue. I like what they're doing. They're pushing the offense on that one, but you got to finish on those shots.
Got to find ways to convert and transition. That'll be your advantage. Amar will control the offense once more. Guarded by Sydney Scott this time. A lot of different women have guarded her so far. Amar, dribble drive, steps back on Scott, then gets it to Tegan Young. Young gets it to Jimenez Montserrat. Steps back. 2 European players going at it. The Spaniard and the Brazilian, a little rivalry. And the Brazilian won it that time and kicks it out of bounds. And Manhattan will keep possession.
For Manhattan, this is another little bit of a scoring drought, about 2.5 minutes since you last scored. So got to start kind of getting some scoring going. And you got to find somebody's got to start stepping up big for Manhattan.
Lamro, Magruder check in for Nicolette Leite and Jill Herder. So the Stags got Lamro, Magruder, Selimovic, Anderson, Sydney Scott. Manhattan will stay the same. Amar finds Montserrat, guarded by a Marshall transfer, Sydney Scott. Mule working on Magruder, who skips it to Tegan Young. Behind the back dribble, spin move on Anderson, fades away. The 4-footer is good. Really pretty move by Tegan Young.
Yeah, and that makes it 12 points in the paint right now. It looks like a traveling violation called on Fairfield.
Fairfield can't get anything going. Carly Thibault-Dudanis is beside herself. 25-18, 1:48 remaining here in the first half. On a jump ball, the possession arrow will belong to the Stags. Inbounder for Amar. Fairfield hasn't scored in over 2 minutes. Amar inbounds it after 4 seconds, gets it to Young, double teamed at the top, and Sydney Scott will pick up the reach-in foul. Sydney Scott, first personal. Stags will pick up their third team foul.
Number 4, Katie Lamro.
Katie Lamro will pick it up. They were both in the area. That'll be the third team foul. Still Lamro will pick up her second personal.
And for Fairfield right now, 3 turnovers in about the last 2 minutes, and also a scoring drought as well in the last 2 minutes. So for Fairfield, they got to also find something on offense as well.
Nicolette Leite will preserve Lamro's foul trouble and check back in. Amar, 8-foot floater is good. The Stags' advantage has been cut to just 5. Sydney Scott hoists a 3-pointer to counter. Air ball. Magruder runs it down. Saves it beautifully to Megan Anderson. Sydney Scott. Nicolette Leite picked off by Mule, who read the pass beautifully. Nicolette Leite looking for the chase down block. Left-hand layup is no good. and the foul is called on Isabella Nicoleti-Leite, and Mule will head to the free throw line for 2 shots.
And if you're Fairfield right now, I mean, that right there, you can't see. It's seemingly a little bit difficult to find those open shots, and I think Manhattan is doing really well right now and keep eliminating those open shots for Fairfield. I think if you look at what's coming on, I mean, a little bit of a 4-0 run from Manhattan right there. Again, 2 buckets in the paint. That's the big thing that's been working for them today. So I think if they continue to do that, there's a chance that this game could be tied by the end of the first half.
Mule, excellent free throw shooter, 84.4%. Second college basketball player to run through the United States. As Nika Mule had her time over at UConn, just down I-95 in the Jersey Turnpike, not too far from Fairfield, but probably an hour and a half might sound right.
Yeah.
Mule, that's the first one, looking to net the second and knocks it down. So Mule will get the Manhattan Jaspers within 3 points. Nicoleti-Leite to Jill Herder. Herder working on Amar, who gets it to Magruder, who gets it to Anderson in that order. Anderson to Selimovic, who launches the three-pointer. Way too strong off the backboard. And Tegan Young corrals the long rebound. The other way goes Amar. Amar controlling the clock. Maybe a 2-for-1 situation. 20 on the game, on the shot clock, 53 on the shot clock. Amar, right-hand dribble. Offensive foul was called on a hard screen by Ozturk. Easy call. Magruder got absolutely slammed on the screen.
Yeah, and for Fairfield right now, they're looking to end the 6-0 run by Manhattan in the past minute and also end their 3-minute scoring drought. So this is going to be a big 47 seconds. I think if Fairfield can find their little bit of those offensive sets, if they can get maybe a Meg Anderson scoop layup or maybe a Nina Selimovic fadeaway, that would be big. Or if someone like a Jillian Herder can keep hot from 3, that would be also huge.
Selimovic to Nicoleti-Leite on a good screen by Anderson. Skip pass to Magruder, who launches the 3 wide left and run down by Amar. Urick has checked back in. That's Petra Urick trying to preserve Layla Ozturk, who picked up her second personal foul on that illegal screen. 17 on the shot clock, 19 on the game clock. Trying to control the pace as Amar is dangerously close to that half-court line. Nicoleti-Leite went for the steal, couldn't get it. Jill Herder reached in. 4 on the shot clock, got a hoist. Amar dribbles it on the baseline, can't get it. 3-2, Magruder hoisted from half-court, and a beautiful block by Christina Urick to end the half. And ladies and gentlemen, we got an absolute ball game on our hands. Fairfield only leads by 3 points as the number 1 seed here at the MAAC tournament. And really, Manhattan's had their way the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, for Fairfield right now, they're just kind of been struggling. Like we've said, they can't really seem to find their offense. They can't find that group. For Manhattan, they've just taken advantage of that. I mean, it's been a gritty game, and Manhattan's taken advantage of the turnovers, the points off in the paint, and things like that. I think for Manhattan, that's a big thing to look forward to and be happy for as you go into the locker room.
Yeah, a great momentum push into the locker room at the Jaspers on a 6-0 run in the last minute and 50 seconds. Held Fairfield for the last 5 field goals, just one of their last 7, and turned the ball over 4 times in 4 minutes. Not a recipe success if you're Fairfield, but you have another 20 minutes to figure it out. If you're the Stags, Mike, what do you have to do to find some rhythm in this ballgame?
I would say for Fairfield, it's Coach Carlo is going to tell them, you got to get, when you get out in transition, run. I think there's been a couple times where you've had those chances and it's just been stifled by a good Manhattan defense, but you've had those chances where you could take shots and it's either been a travel violation on the Selimovic or they just haven't been able to take advantage of that and they tried to reset their offense. So I think that's the big thing. Get out and get moving when you're on offense. Take advantage of those opportunities you're given. And again, find that groove on offense. Start moving the ball. Start moving the bodies. They kind of start looking like earlier, how they were kind of early in the season. A little bit stagnant, kind of just not moving their body. I think if they start to do that in that second half, this is where we could maybe see a turn for Fairfield.
Absolutely. Let's see if Fairfield can turn it around here in the second half. Maybe the Jaspers can pull off one of the biggest upsets in the MAAC conference this season. Grab your popcorn, grab some lunch real quick. We'll be back in 15 minutes for second half coverage of the MAAC tournament. One of the opening rounds. So again, Logan Rundy, Mike Kelleher, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 15.
And if you want these kind of dreams, it's California. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Hey, El Sergeant Barry, while to break the spell of aging. Celebrity skin, is this your chin or is that war you're waging? Firstborn unicorn, hardcore, softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Mary McGill, be my ferry to the world, be my very own constellation. A teenage bride with a baby inside, getting high on information. And buy me a star on a boulevard, it's Californication. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. In Cobain, can you hear the sphere singing songs off station to station? And Alderon's not far away, it's Californication.
You, my heart melted to the ground, found something true. And everyone's looking round, thinking I'm going crazy. Oh, but I don't care what they say. I'm in love with you. They try to pull me away, but they don't know the truth. My heart's crippled by the pain that I keep on closing. You cut me open and I keep bleeding, keep bleeding, love. I keep bleeding, I keep bleeding, love. Keep bleeding, keep bleeding, love. You cut me open. Trying hard not to hear, but the talk so loud. Their piercing sounds fill my ears, trying to fill me with doubt. Yet I know that the goal is to keep me from falling. Hey, but nothing's greater than the risk that comes with your embrace. And in this world of loneliness, I see your face. Yet every word around me thinks that I'm going crazy. Maybe, but I don't care what they say. I'm in love with you. They try to pull me away, but they don't know the truth. My heart's crippled by the pain that I keep on closing. You cut me open and I keep bleeding, keep bleeding, love. I keep bleeding, I keep bleeding, love. Keep bleeding, keep bleeding, love. You cut me open, and it's draining all of me. Oh, they find it hard to believe I'll be wearing these scars for everyone to see. I don't care what they say. I'm in love with you. They try to pull me away, but they don't know the truth. My heart's crippled by the pain that I keep on closing. Ooh, you cut me open and I keep bleeding, love. I keep bleeding, I keep bleeding, love. Keep bleeding, love. Oh, you cut
the drama. Only attracted to things that'll bring the trauma. Overseas, yeah, we trying to stop terrorism, but we still got terrorists here living in the USA, the big CIA, the Bloods and the Crips and the KKK. But if you only have love for your own race, then you only leave space to discriminate. And to discriminate only generates hate. And when you hate, then you're bound to get irate. Yeah, madness is what you demonstrate. And that's exactly how anger works and operates. Man, you gotta have love just to set it straight. Take control of your mind and meditate. Let your soul gravitate to the love, y'all.
People killing, people dying, children hurt and you hear them crying. When you practice what you preach and what you turn the other cheek. Father, 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 help us. Send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love?
It just ain't the same. Always new change. New days are strange. Is the world insane? If love and peace is so strong, why are the pieces of love that don't belong? Nations dropping bombs, chemical gases filling lungs of little ones with ongoing suffering as the youth are young. So ask yourself, is the loving really gone? So I can ask myself, really what is going wrong in this world that we living in? People keep on giving in, making wrong decisions, only visions of them dividends. Not respecting each other, denying thy brother. A war's going on, but the reason's undercover. The truth is kept secret, it's swept under the rug. If you never know truth, then you never know love. Where's the love, y'all? Come on, I don't know. Where's the truth, y'all? Come on, I don't know. Where's the love, y'all?
People killing, people dying, children hurt and you hear them crying. When you practice what you preach and what you turn the other cheek. Father, 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 help us. Send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love?
I feel the weight of the world on my shoulder. As I'm getting older, your people get colder. Most of us only care about money making. Selfishness got us following the wrong direction. Wrong information always shown by the media. Negative images is the main criteria. Infecting the young minds faster than bacteria. Kids wanna act like what they see in the cinemas, yeah. Whatever happened to the values of humanity? Whatever happened to the fairness and equality? Instead of spreading love, we're spreading animosity. Lack of understanding leading us away from unity. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling under. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling down. It's no wonder why sometimes I'm feeling under. Gotta keep my faith alive till love is found. Now ask yourself, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love?
Father, Father, help us. Send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning. Where is the love?
Sing with me, y'all.
One word. We only got one word. That's all we got. One word. And something's wrong with it. Something's wrong with it. Something's wrong with the world. Yeah, we only got one word. That's all we got. One word.
What it do, baby boo? Yeah, little mama, you looking good. I see you wanna play with a player from the hood. Come holler at me, you got it like that. Big Snoop Dogg with the lead pussycat. I show you how I go down. Yeah, I wanna throw that. Me and you one-on-one, treat it like a showdown. You look at me and I look at you. I'm reaching for your shirt, what you want me to do?
I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby. But you keep frontin', saying what you gon' do to me. But I ain't seen nothing. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby. But you keep frontin', saying what you gon' do to me. But I ain't seen nothing. Typical and hardly the type of fucker I like when the physical. Don't leave me asking for more. I'm a sexy mama, just try to get what I wanna. All I do is spring this on ya. Of all the things that I told ya. what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing. You say you're a big boy, but I can't agree, 'cause the love you said you had ain't been put on me. I wonder if I'm just too much for you, wonder. A kiss don't make you just wonder. What I got next for you, what you wanna do. Take a chance to recognize that this could be yours. I can see, just like those guys, that your game don't be. Can't you see? This goes off getting on me. The heat coming from the speed. I'm about to blow. I don't think you know. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep running. Say what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep running. Say what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing.
Now you can get what you want, but I need what I need. Now let me tell you what's cracking like before I proceed. I'ma show you where to put it at. PCD on me, yeah, I thought I saw a pussycat. Now roll with the big dog, all 6 of y'all on me. Now tell me how I feel, baby doll. Ashley, Nicole, Carmi, Jessica, Kimberly, Melody, you telling me?
Listen up. Yeah, I can't take this. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep running. Say what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep running. Say what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Got a tight competition on our hands between the number 1 seeded Fairfield University Stags and the number 8 seeded Manhattan University Jaspers. Mike, it's been a really stagnant game. We were talking about how there was not a lot of flow. Both teams are really struggling from the field. Manhattan has an advantage 38% to Fairfield's 30%, and neither team can really get it going here in their first kind of competitions for Fairfield, at least at Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall. And it looks like Manhattan is adjusting a little bit better because they were able to play here yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, and I think I said this yesterday while we were talking, that a big thing is that I was wondering coming into this game as well was how Fairfield was going to react with a little bit of a bye compared to Manhattan, who just played yesterday, so they have a little bit more energy, a little bit more momentum. And for Fairfield, I mean, they're coming off a loss against Quinnipiac, so that's a big thing to consider. They're a little bit right now stagnant. I mean, you're looking at a little bit of some of the stats. Fairfield and Manhattan tied in turnovers with 10. Manhattan has a slight edge in points off turnovers with 11 compared to Fairfield's 10. Manhattan owns the points in the paint right now, 14-6. And fast break points, Fairfield, as much as I've said they need to get more in transition, they have 13 points in transition compared to Manhattan's 2. Defense has also been a big thing for Fairfield right now. They have 6 steals while Manhattan has 2 blocks. So I think the big thing coming into the second half is going to be how does Fairfield attack Manhattan? How do they find little ways to get some open shots? That's the big thing. And I think players you need to watch out for. Solomovic, Lamro, Anderson. They need to get going.
Teams go with the same starting fives as the first half. And switch sides here. Selimovic goes to the 4-foot patented fadeaway, rolls around but can't go. And Amar with the rebound. Fairfield in the white going from west to east this half. Manhattan in the green going from east to west. Excuse me. Amar working on Lamro. Tegan Young went on a flare, couldn't get it. Ozturk sets a shadow screen. Ozturk finds Amar, looking inside to go to Petra Urich. Skip pass over to Montserrat. 3-pointer, knocks it down. A hot start for the Jaspers as they take a tie into the 9-minute mark into the third quarter. Nicoletti Leite looking to answer, can't do it. It's a one-and-done possession for Fairfield, and the Jaspers have all the momentum. Montserrat finds Amar. Amar guarded by Lamro, 25-25 here. The first time the game has either been tied or led since the 9:22 mark in the first quarter for Manhattan. Montserrat uses the Urich screen, gets to the Ozturk, then looks for Amar and finds her. Right wing, Amar drives right hand, Euro step inside, layup no good. Anderson had it for a second. Ozturk saves it, and Selimovic will run it down after the chaos ensued underneath the basket. Megan Anderson, rare point guard appearance for her. Anderson takes the three, can't get it. 2 possessions, 2 missed three-pointers within the first 10 seconds of the shot clock. Not what you want for Carly Thibault-Dudanis.
No, indeed. I mean, Fairfield, you got to get, I think another thing you have to keep in mind is got to get quality shots. You can't just take 3-point shots because you can take 3-point shots.
Magruder knocks it away from Tegan Young, and Manhattan Jaspers will keep possession with 15 on the shot clock. Magruder and Selimovic will check out quickly. Herder and Rayana Brown will check back in. Their first stints here in the second half. Coach Dudanis incensed, to say the least. Amar will be the inbounder who gets it to Ozturk. Ozturk finds Montserrat, then cuts. Right-hand layup is good. Manhattan has the lead, and they haven't had it since the first quarter. Nicolette Leite trying to tie it back up again. Skips it. Herder gets 2 women to jump right by her. Herder drives, then finds Lamro. Up fakes and goes. Drives, spin move. Working on Ozturk. Steps through, then spins once more. Right-hand layup, no good. Rebound goes to Urich. Montserrat will slow down the possession for Manhattan, and they have all the control. Amar at the top. Amar working on Lamro, the sophomore from Enwell, New York. Amar gets a step on Lamro, inside jump stop, 6-foot shot is good. It is an automatic timeout. Carly Thibault-Dudanis is trying to stop the run by Manhattan. It's a 7-0 run to start the quarter, and Manhattan is doing exactly what they needed to do to start the half.
Yeah, I mean, they're building off exactly what I said in the end of the first half. I mean, they're building off a 6-0 run. So if you're counting the end of first into the second half, it's right now a 13-0 run for Manhattan. That's a big thing right there. They're finding ways to kind of penetrate Fairfield's defense, to create the open shots that they need. And they're tough shots are falling for Manhattan. Meanwhile, for Fairfield, just nothing really going well on offense.
Well, you take 2 possessions, right, that you have down the floor. Out of the 3, there were 2 3-pointers from the exact same spot. They used less than 10 seconds on the shot clock. On that 3rd possession that they got, were able to get into the shot clock, but not really a great shot at the end of it with the Lamro kind of fadeaway hoist. So you have to find ways to get good shots, and that's something they've really been good at all year.
Yeah, it has been, and I think a thing that is kind of playing to their disadvantage, as I said in the open, was the size disadvantage. Manhattan, just a bigger team right now, and I think they're starting to use that to their advantage. They're starting to figure out that, hey, we're bigger. Let's take advantage of that. Let's get Fairfield on defense to use a lot more energy on defense, so then on offense they kind of struggle.
Yeah, I mean, Manhattan going against the best defense and offensive team in the MAAC conference, but it doesn't look like it right now. As you mentioned, the Manhattan Jaspers are on a 13-0 run that spans all the way back from the first half. You're going to find a way to generate points. Not many point paints at all. They've been relying on 3-point ball. Not a great percentage so far tonight either. It's just right around 24%. So, again, you got to find ways to generate paint points and inside. Once they get paint touches, they're usually pretty successful, but the Stags have been relying on that 3-pointer, and that's just simply not going to get it done in this tournament.
No, not right now. I mean, right now I think you look at the team players that I would want to start using to get in the paint. I think of Cyan Coe. I think of Rayana Brown. Those are 2 that right now I think you've got to use. Get them in the paint, whether it be if you're going to try to use 3-point shots, you got to start hitting them. But if you're going to try to create open shots, try to get the Manhattan defense to collapse in the paint and create those open shots. I think that's one thing that Fairfield's done this season that has worked. Let's just see what they do coming out of this timeout.
Indeed, and out of the timeout, you have to find ways to move the basketball. The ball has been sticking a lot. As you can see, Carly Coach Thibault-Dudanis is looking for the ball to be moved. This team is not very good when the ball is stagnant. They're not a one-on-one team by any stretch, but once it touches, 3, 4, 5 players, really good things happen for that Stags offense. Manhattan will check back in on the floor with Tegan Young, Ozturk, Urich, Amar, and Jimenez Montserrat. Nicolette Leite, Lamro, Megan Anderson, Jill Herder, Rayana Brown are the 5 for Fairfield. Stags trying to find some offense here. 7:29 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and you're listening to WVOF coverage of Fairfield women's basketball. Second game here in the MAAC tournament that Fairfield WVOF has covered. Unfortunate men's loss last night to an excellent squad. Got to find different ways to win. Sacred Heart has got them 3 times this year. And next year, if you're the Pioneers, you got a lot of momentum going against Fairfield. And it's really turned into that rivalry, that crosstown kind of element has created for these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, for Sacred Heart, for the men's team, I mean, you had 3 players in Thomas and Neary Stewart. And
Connor, too.
Yeah, all of it, like they have a quality team, a very young team, and I think it's a great future for Sacred Heart in the MAAC right now. I mean, their first tournament appearance and first appearance in the MAAC. I mean, they're going to face the second best team in Merrimack, who's also new to the conference.
Right,
so, I mean, that's a big thing. If 2 of your new teams right now this year on the men's side are in the tournament in their first year in the MAAC.
Bud Clark trying to stop Sacred Heart later on today, 8:30 p.m. That's tip-off, Merrimack Sacred Heart. But for now, back to the action. Katie Lamro will get us started as she crosses half court and gets it to Nicolette Leite. Nicolette Leite looking for Lamro and finds her at the top of the key, looking to get it inside to Anderson. Couldn't find her. Jill Herder guarded by Tegan Young to Nicolette Leite, right back to the top to the right wing to Rihanna Brown. Brown looking for an option, finds Lamro in the right corner. It's 12 on the shot clock. Lamro's got to get busy. Lamro to Anderson at the top, 7. Inside Brown and the entry pass. Can't get the first one to go. Can't get the second to go. Looking for a third on the rebound. Couldn't get it. Instead, it ends up in Petra Urich's hands, who gives it to Amar.
I like that offensive set out, trying to get the ball moving. You saw that kind of little elevator window on offense for Fairfield.
Amar gets the paint and shoots it right before the restricted area and gets the run extended to 9-0 in the half. 15-0 overall if you are the Manhattan Jaspers. Jill Herder inside. Rihanna Brown working on Urich. Kicks it out. Nicolette Leite, corner 3. Can't get it to go. The Stags are ice cold. Montserrat the rebound. Lamro tipped away for a second, and the official calls it off Montserrat last. So a little bit of momentum possibly for the Stags as they force a transition turnover.
Yeah, I mean, if that ball wasn't Montserrat's hand, that probably would have been a layup easily for Manhattan. So I think big momentum point right here midway through this third quarter for Fairfield to get something going on offense.
Rihanna Brown will inbound to Lamro, gets instructions from Coach Dudanis in her 3rd season. Rihanna Brown sets the screen right on Amar's hip. Lamro overhead pass to Anderson, drives left hand, kicks it out, and tipped away for a second. Lamro corrals it, 3-pointer, no good. Herder right there to clean it up off the glass and knocks it in. Jill Herder, an offensive rebound off the Lamro miss to lay it up and in.
And that puts the first Fairfield player in double digits with Herder's 10 right now. I mean, as much as Herder's been great on offense, as she gets the offensive foul on Montserrat right there, I think you got to get someone else involved. You got to get Katie Lamar or Megan. Somebody on that starting lineup has got to get moving.
That layup by Jill Herder is the first basket in over 10 minutes of game time for the Stags. As Sydney Scott will check in. Scott will check in for Isabella Nicolette Leite, the Sao Paulo, Brazilian native. Rihanna Brown will inbound to Lamro. Jill Herder's been excellent so far, 10 points and no fouls. The leading scorer for the Stags. Offense, Jill Herder, Katie Lamro thought about the 3. Amar is able to recover. Crossover inside. Rihanna Brown tipped away and off of, looks like they're going to get it off Ozturk, but that looked like a missed call.
It looked like right there for a second that it may have bounced off Rihanna Brown's leg, but from our vantage point, we couldn't see, and it didn't seem like there was any replay on the Jumbotron right there. But again, Fairfield's just got to find something on offense. They just seem a little stagnant, and they just got to keep moving the ball.
Lamro inbounds from underneath the basket. Herder trying to go to work, try to add to her 12-point total, and then it finds Rihanna Brown instead on a great cut from the right baseline.
It's been the Jillian Herder and Rihanna Brown show right now. They are the 2 players for Fairfield that have kept them afloat right now, and I think they are going to probably be the 2 I think you're going to see later in this game that are going to get some minutes late in the game.
Ozturk, Tegan Young trying to counter with the 3-pointer, too short. Rihanna Brown after the points gets the rebound and rips it away from Ozturk. Lamro going in transition, 4-on-4. Sydney Scott, 3-pointer from the right wing, and knocks it down. Sydney Scott gets it, 1 to go, and the Stags have taken the lead once more. A 7-0 run for Fairfield after the 16-0 Manhattan run.
You're seeing some of the Fairfield fans in attendance here getting on their feet. The band, the pep squad, everyone's on their feet right now for Fairfield.
Amar looking to counter the run. Cut. Ozturk loses control, and it's Fairfield possession. The Stags are 3 of their last 3, and an official timeout, and Fairfield has done what they have done when they've been down this season and answered right back with a 7-0 run.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a huge last couple of minutes for Fairfield. First with the little give and go from Herder down on the baseline to Rihanna Brown, then the shot by Sydney Scott, I believe her first make of the day. That's huge right now for Fairfield. It's a little bit of momentum. It's that momentum they may need to start pulling away. I mean, last time Manhattan was out here, we remember, I mean, Fairfield and Manhattan, it's not as, although they've won both games by big-time scores, in the second time they met, Manhattan kept it really close in that first half, and then Fairfield started to pull away. So I'm wondering if we're kind of starting to see that a little bit now. I think Fairfield's starting to figure out those patterns on Manhattan's defense and figuring out those offensive patterns, trying to limit those points.
Yeah, I mean, although the Jaspers might be 8th in the MAAC conference, they lead in a ton of categories. Opponent field goal percentage, combined team rebounds, first in blocks. They lead the conference in team defensive rebounding with about 25 a game. Again, there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Jaspers team. And if you're Coach Heather Boleyn, you're really excited to face a team like Fairfield and really make your mark here in the MAAC conference.
Yeah, especially for your young players right now on this team and the players that are going to come back next year. This is going to be a big moment for them. Whether this is a win or lose for either team, the young players that are on these teams, they're going to be seeing each other a lot over the next couple of years, I think. And I think I would not be surprised over the next couple of years. These are two teams that are probably in the top echelon of the MAAC conference.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, I don't think an 8 seed is really indicative of what Manhattan's been able to do this season. 9-11 in the MAAC conference is never great, but they've been competitive in a lot of games. Obviously, the two Fairfield games got blown out twice this year, but have really made it competitive when it really matters.
Yeah, I mean, in this tournament alone, as we've said before, when we get to this time of year, their record really doesn't seem to matter anymore. I mean, you look yesterday, Iona upset on kind of St. Peter's as a 10 seed. They're facing Quinnipiac later today. Manhattan, I mean, yes, they were the 8 seed, the better seed, but again, in March, it doesn't really matter what your record was. It matters how you play today. And if you look at the stats kind of in current trends right now, Manhattan's had 3 turnovers in the last 2 minutes. So indicative of Fairfield's defense being really good in the last couple minutes. That's been a big part of how they've been able to score today.
Yeah, and the transition game was something they were strong in early and continue to be strong in. And what I'm noticing is there's a lot better and quality possessions from the Stags. 3-4 members of the teams touching the ball, and the ball is moving, allowing for some off-ball cuts, allowing for some three-pointers to be open. It looks like a good flow for the Stags.
And if you're looking in the huddle right now, you're just seeing some smiles going around in the Fairfield huddle. So that just seems to suggest that maybe the energy is starting to shift a little bit, starting to give Fairfield a little bit more joy, a little bit more passion to play in this game. And for Manhattan, you're looking at that, it kind of just seems like the opposite. It kind of seems like it's a little flip-flop in the energy right now. And I wonder, is that what's going on right now? Is that what's going to happen? And I wonder if Coach Carly, as you see right now, Coach Erica Brown talking with Katie Lamro, and I think that's just kind of telling her, hey, continue doing what you've been doing. Don't give up. Don't be disgruntled on the fact that you may have not been shooting well. Just continue to play really good defense and continue to move the ball and get the ball out in transition.
Indeed, great points from Mike Kelleher. 4:49 left here in the third quarter. The Stags have a 1-point advantage, 32-31. Megan Anderson, Katie Lamro, Sydney Scott, Jill Herder, Rayana Brown, Amar, Tegan Young, Nina Moole, Jimenez Montserrat, and Layla Ozturk for Manhattan. Herder trying to add to her point total with a beautiful spin move up to 12 points on the day in her 15 minutes of play.
I got Jillian Herder, got her shaking one lane, baking the other. Herder up to 12 right now. Big performance right now in this second round for Fairfield.
Amar trying to find some momentum for the Jaspers. Elbow jumper. Rolls around, no good. Rayana Brown corrals the rebound and gets it to Lamro. Lamro trying to push the pace. 5-on-4 in favor of the Stags. Anderson gets Montserrat in the air, gets to Brown. Little shimmy shake, and a push is called on Ozturk. Looked like Brown fouled, but the official says it is Layla Ozturk's third foul.
And even in that possession right there, while Fairfield didn't maybe get a transition bucket, you saw right there on that transition, everyone is running. Rayana Brown, from the rebound all the way underneath the basket, all the way to the under end of the basket. She's just been getting to her points, and she's been running.
Lamro to Sydney Scott to Rayana Brown. Brown gets to Anderson, guarded by Tegan Young. Anderson skipped over to Lamro. Good defense by Amar. Step back by Lamro. Spin move once more. Bounce pass. Sydney Scott gets a wide-open three-pointer and knocks it down. Sydney Scott, number 25, getting it done for the Stags here in the third quarter.
And makes it a 12-0 run in about the last 2 minutes for Fairfield. They're 5 of 5 in the last couple minutes.
Mule running the offense, guarded by Lamro. Double screens, gets Montserrat free. Wide-open three-pointer, air ball. And it is saved by Manhattan, but goes to Lamro's hands. 5-on-3, Montserrat and Amar trail to play. Anderson trying to drive. Left-hand layup. Blocked by Ozturk. Her second of the night. And her 10th of the tournament. Amar. Skip pass. Mule, three-pointer, right wing, in and out. Rebound goes to Tegan Young, and the foul goes on Lamro. Lamro will pick up her third personal as her arm struck Ozturk's head, and Ozturk really making Fairfield pay on the offense and defensive side of the floor.
Yeah, and I mean, again, another scoring drought for Manhattan, about 3.5 minutes with, again, 3 turnovers also in those last 3.5 minutes. Again, Fairfield's defense starting to pick up, starting to get out there, starting to get in transition, starting to get these fast break points, now jumping up to 16-2 in fast break points in favor of Fairfield.
Selimovic and Co check in for Fairfield. No changes for Manhattan. Rihanna Brown and Anderson will take a seat. Montserrat gets the inbound from Amar. Tipped away temporarily by Sydney Scott. 16 on the shot clock for the Manhattan Jaspers to get a shot up. Mule guarded by Herder. Ozturk sets the screen. Set play for Manhattan. Double ball screen. Mule, one-handed pass inside. The Ozturk off her fingertips, and Manhattan turns it over once more. Manhattan has turned it over 14 times tonight. Not a recipe for success.
No, and I mean, tonight, you're seeing right now, these last couple minutes is kind of starting to seem similar to how the game started earlier. Fairfield's defense starting to really pick up, starting to get those little jabs, those little hands in the way of any open shots or any open passes, making sure that Manhattan doesn't get any easy buckets. So I think that's a big thing right now you're seeing in this latter half of the third quarter.
Selimovic gets it to Lamro inside the Co, guarded by Amar. One step on the jab, on the spin move, left hand layup is good. Cyan Co extends the lead to 8 points for the Stags.
Again, that Cyan Co patent move as well, kind of just that scoop layup, that scoop around pivot layup is big for her, and that's, I believe, her first points of the game as well.
Anna Mule gets it at the top. Mule looking for an option, gets it to Tegan Young on the handoff with Amar. Co will switch on to her. Young gets it to Montserrat, and the foul is called on Sydney Scott. Substitution for the Jaspers. Petra Urich will check back in for Layla Ozturk, the graduate student from Berlin, Germany. Nicolette Leite will check in as I speak for Katie Lamro, the sophomore guard for Fairfield. The inbounder will be Amar. Nitsan Amar gets it to Tegan Young. Young working on Co behind the back dribble, spin move, left-hand layup is good. Pretty move by Tegan Young. Just put a little flair on that left-hand layup.
And that ends a little bit of a drought, missing for their last field goals for the Jaspers. Before that, shot by Young, and ending potentially it's a little bit of turnover battles. They had 4 turnovers in the last 4.5 minutes.
Selimovic launches at top of the key three. Way too strong, and Hannah Mule will come out the pack. Mule high dribble. Gets to Montserrat to Tegan Young. Gets it inside. Urich. Way too strong on the rebound. And Selimovic avoids the travel by getting out of the way. Nicolette Leite loses control of the basketball, and a foul goes on Nicolette Leite. A chaotic possession for both Fairfield and Manhattan.
Yeah, everyone, bodies flying everywhere. A lot of great defensive possessions. Isabel and Nicolette Leite on a great help defense right there against Urich. Urich kind of getting the position on Amina Selimovic. And then just Nicolette Leite trying to just get around with some flashy basketball dribbles and just couldn't corral it.
Jaspers will inbound looking for a possession without a turnover, as 4 turnovers in the last 5 minutes and 11 seconds and counting. Amar's 12-footer doesn't go. It's tipped off of Nicolette Leite, and the Stags will give the Jaspers another life. Jaspers staying strong here, only down 6 points with 1 minute and 24 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Montserrat inbound to Urich. That's Petra Urich. Gets it out. Tegan Young up fake, steps it back to the three-point line. Then gets it to Montserrat. Montserrat looking to dribble drive, kicks it to Amar. Amar resets the offense with 7 seconds on the shot clock, 1:08 on the game clock. Amar uses the Urich screen. Tegan Young's got to hoist it, and does. It's blocked by Nicolette Leite, and they're going to call a shot clock violation to not let the Stags get out in transition, as Katie Lamro will check back in. Lamro will check in for Cyan Co, so the Stags go with a little bit smaller of a lineup, with the tallest person on the floor being Amina Selimovic. 25 bench points for the Stags has been the absolute key to success for Fairfield, with only getting 14 points from your starters.
Yeah, I mean, the bench has been a big calling card for Fairfield all year. They've had really good bench players. And you're looking at the kind of the stats right now. Manhattan's 1 of 8 in their last field goal attempts and has had 4 turnovers in the past 5, almost 6 minutes, with a Fairfield 14-2 run in the past 5 minutes.
Herder looking to skip it over to Lamro, couldn't get it, had a Mule. will let it go out of bounds, and it will be Manhattan possession. Lauren Beach will check in for more of a defensive presence. Beach will replace Lamro.
Lauren Beach checks in for the Stags.
Carly Thibault-Dudanis playing chess and checkers here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And usually you'd be pretty successful at the casino when you're playing chess and checkers.
Yeah, I'm not that much of a betting man, but I'd say I trust Carly Thibault-Dudanis as his judgment.
Amar looking to control the game in the shot clock. 16 on the shot clock, 31 on the game clock. Right-hand drive inside. Urich trying to get a layup to go. Tough angle, but gets fouled on a push in the back. Manhattan will pick up their third team foul. Excuse me, that's Fairfield will pick up their fourth team foul. Lauren Beach will pick up her first personal. Petra, a decent free throw shooter, knocking down right around three quarters at 76.3% on the year. Urich, her sister on the team, Christina Urich, couple of years between the two, but as she knocks down the first free throw. And then you have three Croatians on the team with Mule and both Urich sisters. So a very big Eastern European presence here on the Manhattan team, as you also have Layla Ozturk from Germany as the second free throw is knocked down as well. The Stags will let the clock roll. The shot clock is turned off. 20 seconds on the game clock here in Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall. Fairfield leads for now 39-35, 15, 14, 13. Lamro at the top, dribbling all the way down. Now it's at 9, 8, 7. Selimovic sets a screen, kicked out Anderson, who hoists at 6. Trying for the three-pointer, can't get it. Amar launches the 60-footer and a little too short, but a little bit of a heartbreak in the moment for Manhattan. That almost went. Stags up 4 points going into the fourth quarter, and a really competitive game here at Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall.
Yeah, I mean, Fairfield really kind of turning around in that third quarter. I mean, Manhattan started out really good, getting that big run, continuing on that big run they had at the end of the first half. But just Fairfield started to take over, get on a little bit of a 15-2 or 16-2 run at one point. But now for both teams, kind of just struggling the last few minutes. Fairfield's 0-4 in their last field goal shots, while Manhattan's 1 of 8. And Fairfield's also now on about a 3-minute scoring drought. So kind of coming out of this fourth quarter, I'm really intrigued to see how both teams kind of attack each other. Seems like both teams are starting to figure each other out a little bit more, so maybe a little bit of a different game plan in the fourth quarter. But again, it's a very, very close game, and it's going to be a good last 10 minutes.
And holding Fairfield at just 39 points over 3 quarters is excellent, right? Giving up just around 13 a quarter is kind of the pace you want to be at it for Manhattan. Now you just got to put it together on the offensive end, and I think the basketball has to move a little bit more if you're the Jaspers.
Yeah, I mean, right now it feels like players like Amar just haven't gotten a lot of touches, whether that's indicative of Fairfield's defense limiting the amount of shots Amar could take, or it's just Fairfield's stifling defense starting to pick up a little bit more. I think someone like an Amar needs to start getting the ball a little bit more.
Amar has been pretty instrumental on the offensive side of the floor. She's got 11 points, but she missed 8 shots, right? She's kind of taken a back seat here in the second half, and you're relying on people like Urich and Ozturk, who have played well, just haven't been able to step up. Who is that kind of X factor on Manhattan you think to beat the Fairfield Stags this afternoon?
I think, again, I got to go to someone like Hannah Mule. She's been playing a little bit longer today. I mean, she's up to 18 minutes. Expect her to play a good portion, I think, of this fourth quarter. Other players like Jimenez, Montserrat, I mean, she's got 7. She's right now, I believe, second on the team with scoring in 7 points. I feel like she's got to be another player to start getting some touches as well, getting some shots. I mean, she's hit 1 of 2 threes, and she hit 1 of the 3s in this third quarter. So I think if you start getting those players involved, it's going to start allowing someone like Amar to get more touches.
And then on Fairfield's side of things, Jill Herder has 12 points, leading the Stags. Who in Fairfield has to step up their game a little bit to really extend this lead and get to Friday afternoon?
I mean, if I'm going to talk to anyone, it'd probably be Meg Anderson and Katie Lamro. I've said this all game. They've got to start stepping up in this fourth quarter. I think the bench has really gotten you to this point where you still have a 4-point lead going into this fourth quarter, but I think that they are the two in terms of your star players that have to step up. Another player I would also look out for is Rayanna Brown. He had a really good third quarter. She maybe didn't score a lot, but she did a lot of great things on the defensive, on the rebounding side. She got out in transition, setting the pace. I mean, even on the bench, after big key threes in that third quarter, you saw her emotions on the bench. She's just been a huge part of this kind of Fairfield keeping this little lead for them. So I think if she can continue to keep that energy up, it's going to kind of spread the wealth to everyone else.
Yeah, you got to be able to spread the wealth. You got to move the basketball. You got to be able to defend as a team as well. And both teams have really played well. It's just the offense can't get going. And even on the offensive side of things, it's just come down to the execution on the shot. Both teams have moved it well. A lot of turnovers from both teams, 26 combined, 15 from Manhattan, 11 from Fairfield. And that's a little bit more than I think Carly T. Udonis would like.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're looking at just even the field goal chart, both teams have 14 field goals made. A big difference, I think, is in kind of that is some of those things like the free throw margin. Again, 3-point margin. Fairfield has 6 compared to Manhattan's 3. So I think if you're Fairfield, you continue to play really good defense. You can start to get hit a couple more shots. I think you can walk out of here and get to Friday. If I'm Manhattan, it's you gotta start getting back to where you were at the end of that first and early third quarter.
Jaspers will start. Ball is in Tegan Young's hands. Young finds Amar. Amar guarded by Anderson. Then skips it to Montserrat, who launches the three-pointer, just grazes the front of the iron, and Sydney Scott will corral the miss.
And Fairfield looked to switch to a little bit of a zone to start this fourth quarter on defense.
Jill Herder drives right hand, a free pass. Might as well roll out the red carpet. Jill Herder, the queen, knocks it in for a right-handed layup. She's up to 14.
You might as well just walk down to the boardwalk and get to the casinos quickly.
Having a stellar night, Jill Herder. Might as well put all of her money on black. Inside, Ozturk. Easy layup on the other side as Sydney Scott tumbled to the floor. Lamro going the other way this time, trying to work fast if you're Fairfield. The Stags trying to extend their lead, just 4 right now. Sydney Scott, Katie Lamro, Jill Herder, Meg Anderson, Rayana Brown, the 5 for the Stags. Inside, Anderson, and the foul will go on Amar. Amar will pick up her first personal, 11 points on the day. Manhattan will pick up only their first team foul of the quarter. For the Jaspers, it's Amar, Petra Urich, Jimenez Montserrat, Ozturk, and Tegan Young. Anderson at the top, looking to run a play, gets it to Lamro, ball screen. Ozturk on Lamro, left-hand drive from Katie Lamro. Little English on it, but misses off the front of the iron.
Looks like Ozturk may have gotten a tiny piece of that or just adjusted the shot for Lammer a little bit.
Amar gets it to Ozturk inside to Petra Urich, and this game is within 2. The Stags lead 41-39 with 8:22 remaining in the fourth quarter.
I mean, you just cannot have Jillian Herder guarding Petra Urich and expect anything to go well on that. And she tried her best, but that's just something you cannot let happen.
Sydney Scott looking for the ball. Jill Herder passes it to Lamro instead. Ball screen at the top. Lamro stops and goes, gets inside. Bounce pass to Anderson, looking for an angle. Sydney Scott fakes the pass, then gets it to Lamro. Only 5 on the shot clock. Lamro's got to get busy here quick. Lamro steps it back, 16-footer, too short. Rebound, Megan Anderson. Spin, splits 2 defenders inside, and it's fouled. Megan Anderson doing the intangibles here at Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big possession right there. It looked like for a second earlier that they had potentially an open Jillian Herder 3 on that. But I think right now you just got to continue to keep going, keep moving, keep getting your players the balls, keep getting the players that are hot right now the balls like a Jillian Herder, and keep getting players like Katie Lamro or Meg Anderson involved in this game.
Anderson is 78.3% free throw shooter. Anderson, as we mentioned, had 2 great seasons thus far in a Fairfield jersey. Knocks down the first free throw, extends the Fairfield lead to 3.
Yeah, for Anderson, I mean, this year being named MAAC All-First Team, last year just having a tremendous rookie season, being MAAC All-First Team and MAAC Rookie Team last year, and having 11 MAAC Rookie of the Week nods.
Anderson knocks down both free throws, doing everything she can to extend the Stags' season to at least Friday. Magruder is checked back in for the Stags. Magruder from Grand Prairie, Texas, having a great year of her own. Stolen by Brown, and the Manhattan Jaspers turn it over for the 16th time. Lamro going the other way. Crossover. Looking inside. Anderson hoists the three-pointer and knocks it down. Meg Anderson take a bow and put the crown on her. She's been the queen in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, welcome to Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall, Meg Anderson. She's hit a lot. Those free throws may be the key to unlocking her on offense.
Urich skips it. Montserrat, three-pointer, and counters. From all the way from Spain, Montserrat putting a little Spanish flair on that 3 to knock it down.
Yeah, I said earlier, Montserrat's got to be one of those players to get going.
Rayana Brown trying to counter, and does Rayana Brown. It's going back and forth like pinball here and where pinball is pretty popular.
Yeah, I mean, Fairfield and Manhattan starting to trade blows right now. And if I'm Fairfield, that's kind of where you want to be because it gets the ball starting to move a little bit faster and kind of starts playing into a speedier pace. I think Manhattan doesn't want to get to a point where they're having to run up and down the court every single possession.
Montserrat trying to go for back-to-back threes, too strong. Brianna Brown the rebound and gets it to Lamro on the break. 3-on-3 basketball in transition. Megan Anderson drives, kicks it out once more, and a great read by Ozturk as she turns it over. Montserrat going in transition. Tegan Young. Herder's the only one back, and the foul was called in transition. Tegan Young will head to the line for free throws. Fairfield will commit just their first penalty of the period. Jill Herder will pick up her first personal. So, again, great game from Jill Herder. 14 points and only just one foul. Tegan Young will head to the line. Tegan Young is 72% free throw shooter on the year and really put things together here for Manhattan in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, you're looking at the new players in for Fairfield. Cyan Coe and Isabella Nicoletti-Lete will check in for Jillian Herder and for Rayanna Brown. Rayanna Brown, I would fully expect she's going to maybe get 2-3 minutes of rest and then come right back in this game to end the game.
Tegan Young, the sophomore from Leominster, Massachusetts, misses the first free throw. Tegan Young, big part of Heather Vollin's squad this year. Being able to score the basketball, her best asset, though, is really just pace. Being able to work in transition, being able to play the slow game, and just do it all for the Jaspers. Splits the difference at the line, knocks down the second, and will check out immediately. Hana Mule will check in, junior from Zagreb, Croatia. Anderson will inbound from the Metro R on the Manhattan baseline. Katie Lamro will get things started. Cyan Coe on the left wing. Anderson curls, gets it to Lamro instead. Lamro looking for options. Nicoletti-Lete, the Brazilian senior. Nicoletti-Lete guarded well by Montserrat. Lamro, Kendall Magruder. Nicoletti-Lete in that order. Nicoletti-Lete looking to drive, can't do it. Magruder's got 9 seconds to get things going. Gets it inside. Coe using her body to get the layup, but too strong as Hannah Mule pulls down the rebound. Mule going the other way. Guarded by Lamro. Then to Urick. Then over to, looks like that's Amar. Amar inside to Mule on the curl. And this game is within 3 points once more.
A little bit of a miscommunication between Magruder and Nicoletti-Lete right there. Both going out to the three-point shooter and leaving Mule wide open on the bunny block.
Lamro looking for Anderson to move. Finds Magruder instead. Cyan Coe at the top of the key. 16 seconds on the shot clock. 5:25 on the game clock. Anderson guarded well at the top by Ozturk. Magruder drives, right hand stops, kicks it out. Nicoletti-Lete almost had it in her hands, but knocked out of bounds by Amar. 1 second on the shot clock, and you got to draw something up really creative here if you're Carly Tebow Dudanis.
And it looks like Herder's going to check back in for Cyan Coe, and it looks like one of the Urich sisters is going to also check in for Montserrat.
Montserrat will check out. Christina Urich, the sophomore, will check in. Her sister, Petra Urich, is the senior. She's on the floor as well. Manhattan's been pretty efficient. 4 of their last 5 from the floor as well.
And also Rayanna Brown checking back into the game for, looks like Meg Anderson.
Brown in for Anderson. 1 second on the shot clock. Got to get something up quickly. Nicoletti-Lete will be in the inbounder right in front of the scorer's table in front of the Fairfield bench. Lamro hoist with the left hand. It's a shot clock violation. There's really no shot of that going in.
Yeah, I mean, right there, that was a great defensive possession by Manhattan. The last couple possessions, it seems like Fairfield's starting to get the ball moving, starting to get running, starting to move on their offensive sets. Yet it's Manhattan also just getting kind of step for step on those defense as well.
Full court press from the Stags. Mule will get the inbound pass from Amar, but Amar gets it right back. And guarded by Magruder the whole way down. Amar played a really good game tonight. Urich drives, gets it to Amar. Amar resets the offense with 13 on the shot clock, guarded by Magruder all the way in half court. Amar looking for some rotation. Amar crossover, gets some separation. 1 crossover through the legs, backs it up. 4, 3, hoist at 2, a long three-pointer in and out, and Rayanna Brown had the rebound for a second, knocked away, and a foul is called. It looks like that is going to go on Brown. Brown will pick up her second personal foul. The Stags will pick up their second team foul.
Foul number 44, Rayanna Brown. Her second personal.
Media timeout here at Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall. The scoring drought is significant for Fairfield. 2 minutes and 26 seconds when it really matters.
Yeah, right now, 4.5 minutes left in the game. It's really big that Fairfield puts its best lineup, both offensively and defensively, on the floor. I fully expect players like Ariana Brown and like Jillian Herder to be on this floor in crunch time. I think Meg Anderson, she's kind of started to flourish a little bit. I expect her to come back on the floor in the next minute or two. It's going to be really interesting these last 4.5 minutes. I mean, this is kind of a little bit of uncharted waters for Fairfield in a lot of games, especially in MAAC games this season. The only really few times I've seen them have close games kind of was that Quinnipiac game on Saturday, and then just going even in the non-conference play. The one game they had against Villanova earlier in the season where they pulled out a huge win.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find different ways to get things going. We've said that all night. Really just kind of sticking with things that they've been doing all season, but Manhattan's guarded that extremely well. And on the defensive side of the floor, just straight up miscommunications are just unacceptable at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at that one point where Anna Mule got a easy layup right there, just you got to communicate. You got to make sure that you're talking on who's doing, who's where, and who's guarding who. Make sure you're being like, hey, I'm going to get this three-point shooter while you're going to stay in the paint. Make sure there's no easy layup. Right now, points are crucial. Easy points are crucial. Free throws are going to be crucial at this point in the game. Let's see what Fairfield can do in this final 4.5 minutes.
I mean, on the defensive side of the ball has really been where the issue is, right? The shooting percentages are drastically different. Fairfield doesn't usually shoot worse than their opponent, and today they are just at 33%, which is not really a winning recipe, especially if you're not able to defend at a high level either. When you're guarding a team that's shooting around 41%, it's not great, but it's more efficient for sure.
Yeah, and I think the big thing that's kind of, while they are not shooting well, I think the thing that's kept them going is the fact that Manhattan has 16 turnovers compared to their only 13. And I think other things like points in the paint. I mean, yeah, Manhattan has a huge lead on that, almost a 10-point lead with 26-18 advantage. But again, it looks like right now, you're looking at it, rebounds are very close to one another. You're talking about teams that really don't allow a lot of rebounds amongst each other. And again, assists even at 12, blocks in favor of Manhattan 4. But the big thing, as I said, fast break points is the 16-3 advantage. And steals are a huge advantage for Fairfield with 8 steals right now compared to Manhattan's 3. So I think the defense right now has been really keeping you in this game and keeping you ahead. Let's see if you can get some offense going, get some transition again going. You haven't really scored a transition bucket in a while, so let's see what you can do.
The winner will play on Friday at noon. We will see who gets that advantage. Kendall Magruder, Amina Selimovic, Jill Herder, Rayana Brown, Katie Lamro. For Manhattan, Petra Urich, as well as Layla Ozturk, Jimenez Montserrat, Hannah Mule, and Amar.
Number 23.
Montserrat's in, looking for Mule on the curl, gets it to her. Loses control for a second, gets it off the pinball, trying to save it, but Magruder gets it instead. Magruder working 3-on-2 in transition. Bounce pass, Rayana Brown steps through. Left-hand layup is good. A pretty move from the Texas native.
And right now, Rayana Brown, really a big point for this Fairfield team. Keeping the energy up, keeping herself going, and getting both on offense to defense to offense really quick.
Amar gets it to Jimenez Montserrat. To Katie Lamro in defense. Then gets it to Amar. Amar working on Magruder, uses the Urich ball screen to get Rayana Brown switched on. Urich gets it over. That was Ozturk who got it to Mule. Right-hand drive. Right-hand layup. It's good. And the basket. Hannah Mule doing a little bit of what her sister taught her and lays it in, and we'll get the foul shot to go with it.
And right now, that's a huge position right there for Fairfield and Mule. I mean, she gets right around Herder, and she just gets that little under-scoop layup to go with Magruder in her face. It's a big possession right there. And, again, this is a big free throw. Cut it to 2. This would be huge if I'm Manhattan. And if I'm Fairfield, it's make sure if there's any rebound opportunity, get it and go.
Mule, an 84.4% free throw shooter. Tonight she was 2 for 3. Lamro, Herder looking to counter with the three-pointer. Too strong off the heel of the basket. A fight for the rebound goes in the hands of Jimenez Montserrat.
It looks like Katie Lamro got hit in the chops right there a little in that fray where she was going for the rebound.
Lamro definitely shaking up for sure. We'll see how it affects her in this possession. She's on the ball guarding Montserrat right now. Montserrat. And a foul. It will stay here. It will go on Fairfield. Looks like it's going to go on Selimovic. Selimovic will pick up her second personal foul, I believe.
Yeah, it was Selimovic on that little bump with Ozturk. And Meg Anderson going to check in for Selimovic right there. I'm not surprised on that. I think right now you got to put your best offensive and defensive and size team together. And I think maybe Magruder is the only one that I would say maybe sub out. But other than that, I feel like this is the best lineup you can put out there.
Ozturk to Montserrat to Ozturk. Germany and Spain playing a little two-woman game. Add Israel into the mix when you got Amar. Montserrat gets it to the Spaniard. Air ball. An ugly shot from Montserrat. And the turnover will be good for Fairfield. Another turnover for Manhattan.
Yeah, and I mean, that one right there, that was one that I think Manhattan would want back right there. They had the open shot. They got Fairfield's defense moving, and that may come back to bite them in the end of this game.
Magruder looking for Brown inside, working against Petra Juric. Brown steps through, left hand, blocked by Juric. Going the other way, 4-on-4 is Juric and Brown collide on the floor. And Amar will slow it down. Amar working on Jill Herder. Two experienced members, Amar being the senior, Herder being the sophomore. Amar left-hand drive off the glass, rattles around and drops it home. Amar has pushed this game to a 1-point advantage for Fairfield. Lamro trying to extend the lead, gets it to Anderson. The Jaspers have played an amazing game against Fairfield this afternoon. Rayana Brown guarded by Juric at the top of the key to Lamro. Brown will set the screen. Thought about the three, goes inside, then spins it around. Finding Anderson, only 11 on the shot clock. Anderson goes to work with the right hand, uses her body, fades away, and knocks it home. Megan Anderson taking a page out of Amina Selimovic's books and hits the 8-foot fadeaway.
Yeah, you don't really see Meg Anderson take a lot of fadeaway shots so far in her young career, but I mean, gets it to go, and when you need it most, she gets a bucket for you.
Amar, Nitshot Amar, that is, guarded by Kendall Magruder. Crossover, thought about the three-pointer, then gets it to Ozturk, who gives it to Montserrat. Montserrat finds Juric. Up fakes, goes. Right-hand layup is good. Just spun right around Lamro to avoid the charge, and it's a 1-point game once more with 100 seconds remaining. Katie Lamro playing in crunch time here. Megan Anderson, Rayana Brown on the curl, doesn't get it to her. Looking to bounce it in. Megan Anderson thought better of it, then gets it to Kendall Magruder. Magruder drives right hand, stops for a moment, bounces into Anderson. Anderson looking to find it. Another fadeaway shot, another basket in. Megan Anderson keeping the Stags alive here, down to the final minute and 13 seconds.
Meg Anderson up to a quick 13 points right now. That's a quiet game for her, but I mean, she's showing up when you need it most.
Montserrat inside to Juric, intercepted by Jill Herder.
Great help defense by all Fairfield players right there. Meg Anderson, Herder, and Rayana Brown.
And Montserrat will commit the foul. That'll be the third on the Jaspers. Manhattan not in the penalty yet. You need 5 1/4 for it to be free throws. Again, you don't have to really foul. You can play out the possession. You will definitely get one, and you'll get a substantial amount of time. Even if they used all 30 seconds, you'll still get 28.2 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, and an interesting substitution right here. Sydney Scott coming in for Rayana Brown for obvious offensive purposes, but I just wonder if that may be a little bit of a problem if Manhattan's able to get out in transition.
Lamro looking to get the Stags to the finish line. The Jaspers will play straight up. 45 seconds remaining. Amar tips away for a second, but Lamro recovers. It's tipped away. Anderson, and a timeout by Coach Carly Thibault-Dudana. She has all 4 in her pocket and decides to use one of them now, and that's probably an intelligent idea.
Yeah, that was a smart decision right there. It just seemed like that play was going nowhere and would have either ended up in a jump ball or a turnover this late in the game. Again, ball security is crucial. Smart plays to the best people that you got on the floor are also crucial at this point. And making sure you do not let up easy shots right now. I mean, 40 seconds, this game could easily turn any minute. But if I'm Fairfield right now, you got to just say, if I'm them, a Jillian Herder, a Meg Anderson, I feel like those are the two that have been scoring. If Rayana Brown comes back in the post, I think Rayana Brown's another player you could look for. But I think those are right now the big 3 that I would say those are the players you want to have the ball when they need to take a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to correct myself on a mistake I made. Carly Thibault-Dudana used one of her 3 timeouts, so she'll have 2 remaining. And then Manhattan will have 3 remaining. So this could be a very slow 40 seconds and 900ths of a second left. So again, you got to be strategic, right? As you mentioned, you got to find scores that have been able to really generate some offense for you. And then you have 13 seconds to find something in this possession, which could be the most important possession of the night.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Manhattan right there, I think it's the same thing you've just been doing. You're kind of trying to speed up the internal clock of Fairfield and just make them make a little mistake, make them make something happen.
Anderson blocked by Urich, and it went off her shoulder and goes out of bounds. And Anderson is holding her head. That is a possibility of concern. And I believe a review is warranted to make sure the call is correct by Carly Thibault-Dudanis. I believe got in the official's ear, and it will be an official review. Really good block by Urich underneath the basket to possibly give the Jaspers a lead here late in the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, that's their sixth block of the game. I mean, that's been a big point of eliminating as many points in the paint that Fairfield has. I mean, Fairfield only has in the paint. They have 22, but compared to Manhattan Jaspers 30, it's a little bit of a difference right now. And I think, again, this is going to be a big call right here. If it goes Fairfield way, that's huge because you get 30. Looks like you get the 30-second shot clock. But I mean, looking at the replay, it looks like Anderson.
Looks like Manhattan ball.
It looks like Manhattan ball. It looks like it does go off Anderson's arm and maybe potentially your shoulder. But what the angle they're showing doesn't really show the underneath the basket angle.
Looks like it went off her head actually.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's maybe why she was grabbing her head right there, kind of the ball getting smacked down on her head, as we're kind of now seeing some of the other teams for the 2:30 game starting to show up, and it looks like Quinnipiac is starting to show up and look to see who potentially could be making it to the semis on Friday.
Yeah, you got to be able to win this game though first, right? Semifinals noon on Friday, and then 2:30 as well. The Fairfield winner this game will play in that noon slot regardless. So again, you have a lot to figure out though in 36.6 seconds to make it to that game. Again, you got to play 36.6 seconds of good basketball now, so you get that off day tomorrow. That's part of your advantage. Again, you didn't play till Wednesday, and you get the off day on Thursday, and you really just got to find a way to get it done at this point.
And I'm going to be interested to see what Fairfield comes out with this lineup. It looked like both Diane Coe and Rihanna Brown were going to come in on a substitute, and it looks like they are going to sub in right now, and it looks like they'll probably come out for, I think, Herder and Meg Anderson, as Meg Anderson doesn't seem to really be anywhere on the bench potentially, which could be a little bit of a cause for concern. Not correct, and she is on the bench. She was just behind all the huddles. Looks like she may be getting checked out by one of the assistant coaches or the athletic trainer there. But this is, again, now they actually add a couple seconds. It's now 37.3. It's a big – this is going to feel like an eternity for Fairfield. But if I'm Fairfield right now, I just say keep your head in the game. Keep doing what you've been doing on defense. Don't allow those open shots.
Anna Mule, Petra Urich. Looks like Tegan Young's out there with Inez Jimenez Montserrat. And it will be Litsan Amar for Manhattan. Magruder, Rihanna Brown, Sydney Scott, Cheyenne Coe, and Katie Lamro for Coach Carly Thibault-Dudanis' squad. Ball's got to be inbounded, and it is to Hannah Mule at the last moment. Amar trying to propel her team to a tie at a minimum here and make it to Friday. Amar drives, Magruder left-hand layup. No good. Rihanna Brown the rebound, and a timeout is called by Coach Carly Thibault-Dudanis instantly. She uses her third timeout overall. She'll only have one remaining going into the final 26.1 seconds. And if you're Fairfield, that's exactly what you were looking for.
Yeah, that was a big possession right there. A big rebound, and immediately the timeout to get. Looks like Herder, Isabella Nicoletti-Lete, and Meg Anderson back in the game for offensive and probably free throw shooting purposes. So, again, huge rebound. I mean, if I were Manhattan, that's the player you wanted to have in your hands, Amar. And it looks like the last couple possessions, another thing I've noticed is Kendall Magruder has been getting the matchup with Amar. It seems like the last couple of games you've seen Kendall Magruder start to kind of try to take on the best player. When it was in Quinnipiac, she was taking on Gal Raviv. In this game, she's taking on Amar right now. And it seemed to work. It seemed that she's been able to shut her down a little bit, not allow those easy shots that maybe she's been getting earlier in the game. But for Manhattan, I think it's you can't play it straight up because there's no shot clock, so you have to foul immediately. And you just got to hope you hit, the worst free throw shooter on this court. But with five shooters like a Sydney Scott, like a Meg Anderson, Katie Lamro, Jill Herder, and Isabella Nicoletti-Lete on the floor right now for Fairfield, there's not really not a terrible free throw shooter on this court.
Nicoletti-Lete, Jill Herder check in for the Stags. Sydney Scott's in there as well with Katie Lamro. Everything's the same for Manhattan with the exception of Osturk, who checks in. 3 women alignment in the front court, 2-on-2 in the back court with Scott and and Meg Anderson, Ozturk on Anderson, Mule on Sid Scott. And the instant foul is Nicolette Leite able to get it in successfully to Lamro. That foul will be charged to Nitzan Amar, the senior from Iran, Israel.
Foul number 21, Nitzan Amar, our third
And immediate substitutions for Fairfield. Anderson, Herder, and Nicolette Leite all go out. Rayana Brown, Cyan Ko, and Kendall Magruder check back in. Going to be 2 big free throws for Kendall Magruder right now. Or, correction, Katie Lamro.
Katie Lamro at the line, an 84.8% free throw shooter. Good year. Again, been able to be influential as well on both sides of the floor. Lamro, right hand release, knocks it in and extends the Stags lead to 4. 24.4 seconds on the game clock. The shot clock has been turned off.
Another thing you like right here right now is that Fairfield's shooting into their own benches area. So they're shooting to everyone that they have as it looks like there's going to be a timeout called.
Manhattan will call one of their final timeouts. They'll have one remaining for the last 24.4 seconds. It's a full timeout. Okay, the Stags here on the floor have put together a good game. Not great by any standard. We'll be interested to see what Coach Carly Thibault-Dudanis and what Coach Heather Valin has to say after this competition. That will be 24.4 seconds from now in game time. So really competitive from the Jaspers today. And we mentioned that they lead in a lot of categories. They're a very well-balanced team, and they're deep as well, and they match up with Fairfield pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Manhattan, if they are not able to pull this out tonight, I mean, you still have to hold your heads high for this. I mean, a big win against Canisius yesterday. You took the number 1 seed all the way to the final buzzer. And, I mean, at times you had them on the ropes with them. So I think that's something that you could take away from this game as big. But, again, if I'm them, I'm not thinking, oh, what could have been. It's what is now. You still got 24 seconds. It's a 2-possession game. You hit a 3, you hit a quick 2. All of a sudden, maybe you take 6 seconds off. You have 18 seconds plus a timeout. You can still get maybe another 1 to 2 possessions on the floor.
Yeah, 1 to 2 possessions is what's going to be needed because it is a 2-possession game if you're the Jaspers with that 5-point Fairfield advantage. If you're the Stags, you really don't want to do anything dumb. You don't want to foul, no technicals. Been pretty clean all game, but again, you have to find ways to be smart in this situation and the experience on the floor, the youngest woman being a sophomore, or a freshman actually, got the co on the floor. But
Yeah,
then
and then
you have a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, and then 2 seniors. So again, you have some balance, but also some experience at the same time.
And looked like Coach Blake was talking, I believe, to Rayana Brown there for a second, just being like, make sure you play smart. And I think that's the big thing. Play smart with these last 24 seconds.
Montserrat working on Sydney Scott. Got to get a shot up quick. The clock has expired to under 20 seconds. Mule looking for an option. Got to get a shot up quickly. Montserrat looking to get something up. Hoist the left-hand layup. No good. Rebound. Cyan Ko. Lamro. And a foul is committed. And the sun is looking a little bit brighter for Fairfield as they corral the rebound.
And it looks like a timeout was actually called by Katie Lamro on that play. A little bit of a discussion between what was going on, whether or not it was actually a timeout call before the foul was called.
Yep.
So, again, either way, it looks like all the players that were offensively good for Fairfield right now, and Anderson, Magruder, and Herder are going to check back in.
Looks like Nicolette Leite will check in as well. Fairfield was granted the timeout before the foul was committed. Can't move the ball up, but you can at least set yourself on the offensive side, but it also gives Manhattan a way to set themselves as well.
Yeah, and if I'm Fairfield right now, you have to keep in mind, and you're telling all your players, you have no timeouts the rest of this game, so you get the ball in as quickly as can to avoid any turnovers or anything like that.
Got to be able to be smart if you're the Stags down the stretch here. I believe it is a 1-in-1 situation, so you will shoot and extend that lead, and then maybe press 1 up, but then throw everybody back. Try to make something happen and get the clock rolling and get it aspiring to really just run out of here with a win and advance yourself to Friday afternoon.
It's just play smart and just continue. Just get the open play, get the players you want to be at the free throw line. I mean, you have your 5 right now that are your good free throw shooters, but I just say find the best one, find the one who's been doing well today, or just find someone. So just get the ball in and make sure that there's no turnover or no mistakes made.
Nicolette Leite, Katie Lamro, Megan Anderson, Sid Scott, Jill Herder all in. Nicolette Leite will be the inbounder. Manhattan will counter with Tegan Young. They will also go with Nitzan Amar, Layla Ozturk. Brianna Davis will get her second stint at it, and Hannah Mule. So again, a lot of experience in. Even Davis, who hasn't played that much, is a junior. Lamro able to get the inbounds pass, and she will be sent to the line. Brianna Brown, Cyan Coe, Kendall Magruder will all check in. Playing a little offense-defense as Herder, Meg Anderson, and Nicolette Leite will check out. Lamro, an 84.8% free throw shooter.
Number 25, Metro Urich, checks in from Manhattan.
Lamro's been good on the day as she's knocked down both free throws she's taken thus far. Well, different of a substitution. Ozturk will check in for Davis. Ozturk, again, great season so far. Looks like it might dwindle to an end here as Lamro knocks in the first free throw. Lamro's second is good, 4 for 4 from the line today. And a timeout has been called by Manhattan. They will use their final. So looking a little dim for Manhattan, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, March is unpredictable right now. I mean, you can see one moment a 7-point game all of a sudden turn into a 1-point game in a matter of 2 seconds.
Right, you have to be able to generate a three-pointer, and on that last possession where they had the ball, they just couldn't really get anything going quickly, right? They were able to get that layup at the end, but it took 25 seconds to get into that rotation. So this time it can't happen. Got to put up 7 points in 8 seconds even, And so finding ways to get a three-pointer, even if it's not the best shot, you just got to take what's given to you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Fairfield, it's keep your hand out of the cookie jar. If I'm Manhattan, it's just get the best shot you can in the quickest amount of time you can.
Stags will roll out Cyan Coe, Rayana Brown, Katie Lamro, Sydney Scott, Kendall Magruder. Amar, Jimenez Montserrat, Young, Urich, and Ozturk will be in for Manhattan. Ball's got to get in 3 seconds, and it does. Tegan Young's got to hoist a shot. Step back three-pointer is an air ball, and Rayana Brown will corral the rebound, and Manhattan won't foul. Although it was a heart-palpitating performance, the Stags do come away with a 7-point win here at Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall and will advance to Friday afternoon at noon, where they will take on their unknown opponent. Mike, not a great first half, a little bit better of a second half, but it looked like their experience showed at the end of the game. Right?
Yeah, right there. I mean, experience from both the players that have played for this team, but also the players that you have from your transfers, like a Sydney Scott, like a Rayana Brown, two players that have played in conference title games and conference tournaments. Another big thing I have to mention is the bench points. 31 of your points came from the bench. So over half your points came from the bench. So a big outing from the bench. Again, great points off turnovers, 23. So their defense and their bench were the biggest reason I think they won this game, and I think they're making it Friday to either face Marist or Mount St. Mary's.
Again, big performance. Jill Herder came off the bench and really boosted this team. 14 points. Meg Anderson got going, not as much as we normally see it. Got 13 points to put in there, but give a lot of credit to Manhattan. They came out and competed against a team that has only 4 losses this season.
Yeah, if I'm Manhattan, I'm saying this was a really good game. You can hold your head high and you can say, hey, we got some things we can maybe improve upon, but hey, we got players that are going to be here for a little longer. A lot of young players still on this team, a lot of rotational players that are still young. So hold your heads high if I'm Manhattan. If I'm Fairfield, celebrate the victory now, but tonight, start preparing for whoever you're facing.
Indeed, Fairfield will play on Friday afternoon at noon. WVOF 88.5 will call that game. Broadcasters, we will find out who those are as well. The winner of the Mount St. Mary's and Marist game will be their opponent. It's been an absolute pleasure this Wednesday afternoon. Logan Rundy, Michael Kelleher on the call. Absolute pleasure. Stay safe, and as always, go Stags.